right. So looks like YouTube's going. We got the TikTok rolling. Hopefully we can have some good faith, productive conversations. Hey everybody. Hey Goblin Brain and Miggy and Anonymous. Glad to have you guys here, or you folks here. I'm doing okay today. Looking forward to this weekend. Got a bunch of stuff going on. Um, got the day off of work tomorrow. That should be fun. Um, yeah. Hey, thanks for the support right out the gate, Goblin Brain. That's awesome. But yeah, hopefully we can have some good conversations this evening. I think we've I don't know. Last night ended up being okay. Well, there will be idiots, Anonymous. There will be idiots, unfortunately. Oh shit, Goblin Brain. Thank you so much. Damn, starting off strong. Uh, well, the fantastic thing is I did find something to do with my life. I've got lots of things that I do with my life, and one of the things I do with my life is debate. All right. So yeah, looking to talk to folks who are 18 plus and actually have some kind of argument or evidence for God that doesn't involve personal experience. Um, yeah, trying to think of like what the next um thing I can do to improve the stream is. Not exactly sure. Um, um, yeah, I've been thinking about like what I can do next. I've been doing stuff like buying monitors and 800 new cameras, or two, but either way. Um, and so I'm just trying to think of like the next thing to do, or if I just save up for a nice computer so I can do more, because that might be the play. Um, well, I assume that people can demonstrate that God exists because so many people believe in it. And the other assumption I would have to make is that all those people are just, irrational, stupid people. So either they can demonstrate that God exists or they're irrational and dumb. So I think it's a better assumption to make. It's more charitable to make the assumption that people aren't that dumb, right? But yeah, if you guys have a ton of different cameras, hey Obelisk, good to have you as always. Um, yeah, that's what I need is multiple angles. Oh shit, is that what I should do? Um, should I run this with multiple different cameras for different streams so that I don't have two programs trying to use the same camera? That could be cool. That could be cool. You got to be an adult to join. So, only looking to talk to people who are 18 plus, who believe in a God, and actually have some kind of argument or evidence that would provide rational justification to believe in a God. But yeah, hopefully we'll get some folks joining up here soon and actually be able to have some good faith, linear, productive debates. Velociraptor sounds fun. Actually, I don't know. I don't know if I want to be around for that. All right. Yeah, I don't. I never know what to do in these in between moments, like waiting for people to join. I've got a YouTube. I've got a Discord. If you all want to join, um, or support me over on YouTube. That's one of the ways that you got, that I could do more is getting some more support over there and being able to do that. Um, Seems like people are trickling in pretty slowly. I appreciate you guys for the support, the taps on the screen, the shares, and all that. Um, Hopefully, we can get some theists in who actually want to have the conversation. Hey, I love you too, Minism. Minism? Minism? I don't know how to say that. I'm sorry. Um, Thanks everybody for the hearts and everything. Alan and Tiny Science, Lupine, Goblin Brain, everybody for the support. You guys are awesome. Um, um, every emotion you've ever felt was God. That doesn't make any sense. Um, yeah, typically by now, we would have some people in here, but I don't know what's going on. I don't really have. I don't ever like plan shit to talk about because usually people request up and I can just have the debates. I don't really know how to like be entertaining on my own, you know? Um, well, the reason that the burden of proof should be on people who believe in a God is that they're positing the existence of something, right? If you're positing that something exists, that comes with a burden of proof. Now, I will agree that it's unreasonable to think somebody should accept the position, the positive position, no gods exist, without support. Absolutely. Um, but to accept the positive position, God does exist, definitely requires, you know, burden of evidence. And if people weren't out there with the false belief that gods exist, we wouldn't even have to have this conversation. So as soon as people stop believing in stuff that they don't have reason to believe in, then I can stop doing these lives, or I can like pick a different topic. Yeah. Good point, Goblin Brain. Yeah, that Elliot argument idiot is not gonna give us anything entertaining. Unfortunately, the best that he can do is I don't know. Every time I've ever seen any of his videos, it seems like it's just you know, like his friends pretending to claim to be atheists so that he can pretend to convert them. That's what it always seems like to me. I don't know. But yeah, hopefully we'll get some folks who are adults who actually have some argument or evidence for their position. Oh, that's one reason why you'll never see this Elliot argument idiot doing um uh any real debates because he knows he doesn't have a support for his position, right? He has no support for his position whatsoever, and that's why he'll never come up and actually present an argument. Because all he can do is straw man the atheist position, which he obviously doesn't understand, and then pretend that he can, you know, because he can knock down the straw man, pretend that that means something. Hey, I mean, I would do a debate on a neutral site as long as we had, you know, a moderator, and we both agree that as soon as one of us starts talking about something that's off topic or dodging a question, that we get muted. So if you will agree that you get muted anytime you go off topic or don't, you know, engage in the substance, yeah, I'm down for it. So if that's something you want to do, hit me up. Yeah, you want me to DM you. That's right. Yeah, I need to set up the debate that you want to have. Makes sense. People are so stupid. What is going on? What is going on tonight? This is crazy. Uh-huh. Yeah. Yeah, if you want to call those universities, I would probably use the name Diploma Mill. Seems a little bit more accurate. No, he'll never join. He will never come up and debate anybody that actually knows anything about the topic. That will never happen. That will never happen ever. You know. And he's claiming that he wants to debate me somewhere neutral. He'll never do that either. And if he does, he'll agree to the terms that I've set and then cry about the terms. Right? Because he'll never actually be able to support his position. 100% Goblin Brain. I completely agree. Yeah, absolutely. He's too scared to join. Yeah, because he knows that I hold people to substance, and he knows that he has nothing of substance to say. He wants to do something neutral so he can pretend that his bullshit is substance, and then yap about that instead of actually having, you know, a substantive debate. Um. Okay. Well, whatever. Uh, this is the most attention he's gotten in months, so I know he's eating this up right now. So we'll stop. Maybe we have some real people to talk to. So if you're in the guest queue or thinking about joining, make sure that you're 18 plus and that you have some kind of argument or evidence that would provide rational justification to believe in a god. Hi, Wave. How old are you?
Yeah, I'm 24.
I'm surprised somebody so young has that profile picture.
Well, I mean, my dad introduced me to it pretty early on in my life, so
Really?
man.
When I was a kid, I had all
Yeah,
the strips and the books, the collections, and
yeah, me too.
I stacked them in chronological order. And what I would do is
Oh,
read the one
really?
on top, and when I was done, put it on the bottom, read the next one, and I just cycled through that over and over and over
Oh my
again.
God, yo, literally me too. Until my dad bought me the collection, like the big like 20 pound thing.
I never had the money for that. I'm so jealous. I'm
Oh
so
yeah,
jealous.
my dad spoiled me with the Conan House. It's pretty great.
Yeah. All right. So, do you believe in a God? Oh, and you're off the app now. We yapped too long about my childhood favorite newspaper comic, and now you're gone, and we can't actually have a debate. That's unfortunate. Really? Did you really? Did you really get raptured? Right when we were about to get to substance? Oh, I shouldn't have brought up the profile picture. Shit. Nothing? Nothing. That's unfortunate. And gone. Hey! Fucking drum hamster. Thanks, KC. And thanks, Lem. Everybody. Goblin Brain, you guys fucking rule. Genuinely, I feel so lucky that I get so many awesome people in here supporting and everything. Like, it just, I don't know, it blows me away. Farting? No, we're not making a universe right now. Here's my favorite farter, Eunice, the universe farting unicorn. She's the best. Oh, yeah. I am never gonna feel like somebody owes me sending coins or supporting or anything. Like, when you guys do, fantastic. I fucking love it and I appreciate you so much. But it's never in my mind that somebody like owes me that. But yeah, currently don't have anybody requesting. We've got like 160 people. Apparently no theists that think that they can support their position. But I just ask that if you're 18 plus and believe in some kind of God, come up if you have an argument or some kind of evidence that would support believing in that God. You know, if you feel like you can justify the position, I'd love to chat. Okay, I can bring the next person up in just a moment here. If they connect, hi Matt, how old are you?
I'm 48.
Do you believe in a God?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not the type of Christian that tries to shove it down anyone's throat because, I mean, I can't prove anything. It's such a faith-based religion. It's just something that I've just believe in my heart. And so I'm not really here to convince you, but I just have a question. Like, what do you believe in? Do you believe there's a creator of the universe? Do you believe in Big Bang Theory? Like, what do you believe God is here? Like, how the universe was created?
Well, I don't believe that the universe was created. Is there a reason that I should?
No, I'm just trying to figure out where you're coming from. I'm more interested. I mean, I like your topic and I like what you do, so I'm just interested in your side.
No, I don't believe the universe was created. So asking who created the universe or how it was created is a nonsense question, in my opinion.
Then how do you think it started? Do you think it just always existed, or?
Yeah, I don't have any reason to believe that the universe started. Is there a reason to think that the universe started?
I mean, I can't give you like empirical evidence besides when I look around there. Just to me, there's so much intelligent design that it's hard for me to fathom that this just happened on a whim. And I know
Okay, but what if I
this
look
is very
around and
tricky.
I see, unguided natural processes, and I can't imagine how there could be an intelligent mind behind it? Now we're on a par, and so it sounds like we
Oh
would need
yeah,
something beyond just what our intuition tells us when we look around, right?
yeah, 100%. I mean, I agree with you. That's why a lot of times when I have debates with me with my other Christian friends, I see your point, and I more just wanted to discuss it with you because I mean that's very valid. It's crazy to think that there is a God. The Bible's wild, and that's why it just comes down to it's just for me faith, and it feels good, and I try to spread joy with it
Yeah,
and
but
reach out to people.
both faith and how a belief makes you feel have literally nothing to do with whether what you believe is true. Don't you care
Oh,
whether your beliefs are true?
man, not really when it comes to religion.
Okay. Well, I
teaches
mean, if
me
you're
to have
just
a
going to
better
come up
life.
here, if you're just coming up here to say, "Hey everybody, I just want the hundreds of people watching to know that I'm an irrational, unreasonable person who believes things for no reason," like, I mean, I guess you can do that, but that's not really, I'm not just looking for people to come up here and embarrass themselves. I was hoping to actually have some kind of
Yeah,
substantive conversation instead of you just saying, "Hey everybody, look at how gullible I am."
yeah. I mean, I don't think it's that way, man. I would
Well,
just
that's
really
what
want
you've
to hear
said.
your viewpoint.
That's what you've said. You
Okay,
said, hey,
I mean,
everybody, look at how gullible I am. I know I don't have a reason to believe what I believe, but I believe it anyway.
yeah, I mean that's what kind of faith-based religion is about. It's really
Right.
hard to prove.
It's about
besides
being
religious
gullible.
doctrine.
It's about proving your gullibility. I don't
mean,
need
yeah.
evidence to believe. I believe without a reason. Well, there's not really anything for us to talk about, Matt. I mean, you seem like you're not a terrible person, but obviously there's nowhere to go. But if you are in the guest queue or thinking about joining, make sure that you're 18 plus and that you have some kind of argument or evidence that would provide rational justification to believe in a God.
How you doing, bro?
Doing all right? Are you the same Flexo?
I'm doing good, man. I'm doing good.
Are you the same Flexo I've talked to before?
Yeah.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah.
Cool. Remind me, are you Christian?
Yeah, I believe in Jesus Christ.
Fair enough. We'll fix that someday. Or hey, maybe you'll fix me and I'll be Christian after we're done talking today. What have you got for me this time?
I want to talk about the universe having an intelligent design. There being what we found in evidence pointing towards there being some type of creator or some type of mechanism that regulates how we see things.
Well, I guess, I don't know. It sounds like there's kind of a lot there. Is there some specific point or argument that you want to discuss?
Yeah, I will point towards there being the former of there not being a creator it's just regularly natural. It's just natural process. I beg to differ because when we look at natural process, we see that it's irrational. Sometimes things don't go how they should. Sometimes things don't work out. You see what I'm saying? Like,
no, what do you mean? What do you mean things are irrational? It sounds like you're just saying things don't work in necessarily how we would expect, but I don't see how that makes it irrational.
Yeah, like how biological reproduction, so there are other beings that are greater than us, like birds and cheetahs and stuff. Like they have.
What's the irrational thing?
Yeah, humans not being able to do everything else that we've found. Okay, hear me out. What I mean by that is, out in the real world, without us being in our environment of cities, and that, like, when we are in the wilderness, we are at a disadvantage and a heavy one. There are organisms that potentially, you know what I'm saying?
That's like saying whales are at a disadvantage in the forest. Like, I guess, but they're just not adapted to that type of environment. That doesn't mean that there's something wrong with whales or right about the forest. It doesn't mean anything other than life adapts to the environment that it lives in, and we adapted to the environments that we lived in. And one of the things that we adapted to do is to alter the environment around us for our benefit. Like, that's one of the things that sets us apart from other creatures.
That wasn't natural. That's something.
Yes, it is natural. It's 100% natural. Like, it's the same thing that ants do. Are you saying that ants aren't natural because they build build colonies? Are you saying beavers aren't natural because they build dams? Of course it's natural. They're just our animals who, part of their nature, part of the type of being they are, is to impact their environment. Now, obviously, trees don't, build houses or build dams or anything, but they impact their environment. I mean, think about algae and how much they impact the atmosphere of our planet. Like, we wouldn't have nearly the level of oxygen that we do if it wasn't for algae, right? So, like, every living creature in its way impacts the world around it. Some types of things, some types of organisms have massive impacts all around the world, and some types of organisms never have more than, just impacts in their specific tiny little niche. But that doesn't make one better than the other. That doesn't make one more important than the other. That doesn't make one more natural than the other. Like, I don't see how any of this is relevant to anything, and it's certainly not relevant to believing in a God.
Okay, so to summarize what you said, just to make sure I'm getting it right, you're saying that it is natural, basically. You're saying that those are the natural, it's basically natural order. Like, we see things and we use them to adapt, basically.
Yeah, I don't see us building things to be any different than birds gathering sticks to build nests. Like, I don't understand why that would be any different. Like, is it unnatural for birds to build nests? Is it unnatural for beavers to build dams? I don't think so.
No, that's not what I meant. But what I meant by that is how they operate in those environments, how they operate in those um
What's the difference? What's the relevant difference here?
like how sometimes now we've adapted to not having fur. Humans used to be covered in hair. We used to be able to adapt to the cold environment. If there were some type of natural process that throws us off that, it would indicate us being put here by a creator. You see what I'm saying? Like how humans, the mechanism of how humans reproduce and the mechanisms of how humans gather blood cells, us being able to rebuild our bodies to a certain extent.
No, our mechanisms aren't any different than any other animal. Like I'm not saying that every animal has exactly the same biology, but what I mean is there's no difference between human biology and the rest of animals that would make it seem like we're special in any way. Just like we may be the most like cognitively intelligent species on the planet, but that doesn't make us the best. That doesn't make us special in any way, right? Like cheetahs are the
I think
fastest
it
land
does.
mammal.
Yeah, I know, but I think it does because we have authority over those things. We
No,
have
we don't have
authority.
authority over them. We maybe act
We
like we do. We maybe
domesticate them and we reproduce them
yeah,
and
that's
it's a
fine.
mass system.
That doesn't give us like that doesn't again, you know that other animals have like pets of other types of animals, right? Like that happens.
Yeah.
Like other apes will have pets, elephants have pets sometimes. Like there are like symbiotic relationships between um like alligators and certain birds. Like there's a lot of that kind of stuff that happens. Like yeah, sometimes different creatures enter into symbiotic relationships. Like we provide a benefit to the animals that we invite to live with us, and then we invite them to live with us because they provide us a benefit. Like part of why we domesticated wolves is because they provided us a benefit to have them as part of our tribes. So like it's not any different than any of the relationships that you see again, like it's not different in a relevant way. I don't mean to say that there aren't differences, but I think that the differences are irrelevant because they're the exact kinds of things that we would expect to happen just under total natural
Okay,
processes. Like I
now
don't see
I
any reason
got
to
you.
think
I
that there
got
needs to
you.
be a god involved.
Mm. Well, I will point towards the Bible saying that of how we got created, of how we got
Yeah, but that's just the
put here,
claim.
and
That's what you're supposed to be providing evidence
I
for,
think,
and
yeah, I think that I
you
think
can't use the claim as the
I
evidence
was
for the claim.
no. So the evidence was us being able to be sentient enough to gather stuff and
Yeah,
to
but you haven't
adapt to
explained how
those.
that's evidence.
I mean, well, I'm not. So you know me, brother. I'm not. You know what I'm saying. One of those simple religions where it's magic. You know what I'm saying.
But here's
I
the
don't
issue,
think it's
Flexo.
magic, but
Here's the issue. In order for this to be evidence for theism or anything related, you would have to show how it's expected if theism is true and how it's unexpected if theism isn't true. Because if those things aren't true, then this just isn't evidence.
mm,
Oh, pew, 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 pew. I don't know why I fucking love doing that.
I get your point. I get your point.
Yeah.
But
So in order for something to be evidence, it has to raise the probability of the thing it's supposed to be evidence for. And the only way for a piece of information to raise the probability of a given hypothesis is if it's expected under that hypothesis and not expected if that hypothesis is false. So you have to show why the things you're pointing to are expected under theism and unexpected if theism is false. That's what I'm looking for.
mm, well, if theism is false, right? Where did our cells get the sentient ability to be able to do such things to a certain extent, to be able to adapt
Billions of
us
years of
over
evolution.
billions of years of evolution?
Yep. That will explain a lot.
I'm not gonna say I don't believe in evolution. I think there's an evolution process. I just don't believe we can map that out to that extent, to that certain degree. Like, how do we know that 300 million years ago we were, you know what I'm saying, single cell organisms? How can you map
Well, it
that
was a
out?
lot longer ago than that, but all you'd have to do is just research evolution. It's a pretty easy thing to research. There's lots of information out there. I promise you, lots of people out there have the answers to these questions. Now, I am not a biologist. I am not an evolutionary scientist. So I'm not going to be able to, I'm not going to even pretend that I can, convince you to believe in evolution. All I can tell you is that, the information is out there. And if you're actually interested in knowing what the evolutionary answers are, even if you don't expect to ever believe in it, I think it would be helpful to you to at least know what the claims are, so that way you know what you're denying and what you're trying to refute.
Yeah, I got you, bro. Okay. Well, I remember last time we talked about, I brought up some evidence of Jesus, and you said that it was just evidence of people pointing towards them believing in Jesus, not actually contemporary witnesses.
Yeah, we don't
And
have.
I think James and John would be contemporary witnesses because their gospels were written in first account.
Where can I read firsthand accounts from James?
Let me see if I can put this up on my computer for you. I remember it pointed me to a website about something. Let me see if I could do this. Hopefully it's not dead.
Hey, rocking out. Fuck yeah. Thanks, Poopman Jones.
I'm trying to get it for you, bro.
So it doesn't.
I'm getting it for you, bro. Okay, so if you look up, what is it?
So just looking it up here, it
It's
seems
from,
like
it's
the
from,
evidence. It seems like
it's from Bible Hub, and it says,
what I can see is that there's an epistle of James, and at the beginning of it, it says, this is written by James, but nothing in it actually says who the James is, how he's linked to Jesus, anything else. There's also apparently theological tension with Paul's letters. Yeah, he only identifies himself as James, a servant of God and the Lord Jesus Christ. Doesn't ever claim to have witnessed anything. Doesn't ever claim to be related to Jesus. So I don't see any reason why we would think that this is an eyewitness account when it doesn't even pretend to be an eyewitness account.
yeah. So from what I can say, because I tried to look it up from a non-Christian source, right? I forgot the thing. It says the writings of the first century Romano-Jewish historian Josephus includes references to Jesus and the Gospels, including John and James.
Right. I understand that Josephus talks about Christians. I agree with you about that. But again, all that does is show us that that Josephus is reporting that people believed in Jesus. People believed in the resurrection. But there were lots of different resurrections that people believed in back then. I don't know if I've talked to you about Aristeas at all. Do you remember that story?
What was it? He claimed to rise from the dead and people seen him. I think it was linked to like the emperor or something. Like he was an emperor or he was trying to be one.
So basically, Aristeas was this guy back hundreds of years before Jesus. This is a very common thing for a long time that people would talk about resurrections. Aristeas was a guy who died in a soap maker's shop. The soap maker knew who he was, so he locked up the shop to go tell Aristeas's family, like, hey, you got to come get your family member's body out of my shop. And when they got back to the shop, Aristeas was gone.
Yeah.
And so, and then people said that they saw him walking on the road. So he was witnessed dying, and then he was witnessed post-resurrection. And then he also kept appearing to people over hundreds of years, saying that he was spending his time as a magical raven flying around with the god Apollo. So, and people believed this. And before he died, there were stories about how he could separate his soul from his body, and he could do all kinds of magical stuff. So here we have a story about a guy who can perform miraculous feats, and then he can and then when he was witnessed dying, he was also witnessed after his resurrection, and people believed that he was had some divine connection, and then people made statues and altars and stuff to him. So like there's in the book from Herodotus that talks about this is called The Histories, because this is a story that was reported as history, the same way that it would be reported as history that people believe that Jesus did miracles and then resurrected from the dead. Like, this is just like a normal thing that happened thousands of years ago. We don't have this kind of stuff happening now because we have fucking cameras everywhere, because we know that this stuff doesn't happen. But back then, it was a normal thing that people thought happened all the time.
Okay, so I think you wouldn't accept those due to us not having other backup books about it. Are there any other stories about this particular person? Like, were there multiple like because the Emperor Nero is mentioned in the Bible. Like, we can map out with archaeology.
Right, but Herodotus has real people in his stories as well. My point isn't that you should believe that Aristeus rose from the dead. My point is that you don't believe Aristeus rose from the dead, even though it's got the exact same kind of stories around it. Now, there may not be as many copies of the story about Aristeus, but most of the copies of the stories about Jesus came from the medieval period. So those aren't original. Like, you know, everybody talks about, like, there's so many manuscripts about Jesus. That's just copies. It's just copies of the Gospels. Just because you have 4 Gospels, most of which is just them copying from each other, and then you make a bunch of copies of those, like, that doesn't mean that the claims in the books are true. Like, think about how many copies there are of Batman comics, how many copies there are of Marvel movies out there in the world. That doesn't mean that the stories are true just because there's, you know, bajillions of copies of them.
Okay, so do you not think Paul was a real person? Like, do you?
I have no idea whether Paul was a real person.
Okay, you have no idea. Okay, so second century documents that were dated late, like.
But it doesn't matter if Paul was a real person, Flexo. If Paul is a real person and he really believed the stuff that he wrote in his letters, that's perfectly consistent with my perspective on Christianity. I totally can believe that some guy fell off a horse and hit his head, had a hallucination, and then changed his life as a result. I know someone personally who fell off a horse, hit their head, and then changed their life as a result. That's like a thing that happens. So it's not weird to me that that could have happened to Paul, and that he would write a bunch of stuff as a result. You know, that doesn't surprise me. So I don't see how any of this is any evidence for God. Again, all you're doing is providing evidence that people believed in God, people believed in Jesus, but I would be looking for evidence that God actually exists.
I mean, if I could convince you that Jesus existed, I think I can convince you that God existed. Because
no, absolutely not.
Because Jesus claimed to be that one true God of the universe, right?
That's fine. Lots of people have claimed to be God. Do you think that every time someone claims to be God that they actually are God?
No, of course
right.
not. Of course
so
not.
So even if Jesus was real, and even if he really claimed to be God, that has nothing to do with whether a God exists. Literally has no impact.
I hear what you're saying, bro. But I mean, if you look at all of the manuscripts and the documents dated back in the century, we accept those. Like, we accept like how you can map out who was the Queen of England. Like, you
right,
can
but
map
it's
that
the same. That's why I brought up the Aristeus story, Flexo. Because when we have old historical documents, we'll believe things like maybe they talk about a battle that happened. Maybe they mention a city that doesn't exist anymore. Maybe they talk about the succession of leadership. You know, they talk about those kinds of things, and we typically will take the word from historical documents that's probably true, unless there's, you know, some reason not to. However, when historical documents make claims about miracles or resurrections or any number of other supernatural stuff, like, you know, beings coming down from the heavens, whatever, we don't believe that stuff. So just because a book that has some real things in it also has some false things in it, that doesn't mean that we or Just because a book has some things that are probably true in it doesn't mean that we should think the unbelievable things, the unrealistic things, unlikely things are also true. Like there are Spider-Man comics with Barack Obama in them. Now, I'm pretty confident Barack Obama is a real person, but that doesn't mean that Spider-Man's real. All the Spider-Man comics, like he lives in New York. I'm pretty confident New York is a real place. But just because the comics talk about real people and real places doesn't mean that the rest of the story is true. So just because the Bible has information about, you know, real events, real people, real places, has nothing to do with whether the supernatural claims are true. That's what I'm interested in. Not what's the evidence for, you know, the cities existing. What's the evidence for the resurrection? What's the evidence for the miracles? What's the evidence for God?
I mean, his resurrection, well, not his resurrection, but his crucifixion was documented, was it not? And
Even if he
people,
was crucified, that has nothing to do with whether God exists.
okay, so if I was to unalive right now before your eyes and then come back, would you not listen to everything I have to say? If I said I had
No,
the
I would
secrets
not.
of the universe,
No,
you
I
would
would
not.
not. Nope.
Even though you have never seen anybody in your life do that, like even your family
Yeah, because those
members,
things aren't
even people,
connected.
those things aren't connected. How so? Like if I'm biologically dead, like I'm deceased, I have left, like you know what I'm saying, and then I wake up and I say,
Yeah, all
hey,
I'm going to know is
I
that
know what.
something happened that that I can't explain. There would need to be some kind of evidence gathered that would support some conclusion or other before I would draw a conclusion about what happened. Just seeing something happen that you don't have an immediate explanation for is not a reason to jump to a conclusion about what the explanation is. That's why I think like all the alien
Yeah,
stuff is so
I wouldn't
stupid.
say I
Because
wouldn't
people run
say
around talking about, I saw an unidentified flying object and I know what it was. Well, then why the fuck did you call it an unidentified flying object? This is the same kind of thing. Like, I don't know the explanation for the stories of Jesus' resurrection. Therefore, Jesus really resurrected and there's a God. That's what you're doing.
I see what you're saying, bro. I mean, I don't want to be disingenuous. I had also looked into the Case for Christ that you had sent me to. You told me to read that book, The Case for Christ, I think.
Oh, no, I never told you to read that. I would have told you something decent.
Oh, well, if you want to point me to any other, because you know what I'm saying, I'm always interested in truth. You know what I'm saying? I think people's lives are getting real affected by this, including mine. So
I genuinely recommend looking into biblical scholarship. And I don't mean look into atheist scholars. And I mean look into people who actually have educations about biblical scholarship, who are actively working on biblical scholarship and aren't employed by a place that makes them sign a document restricting what kinds of things they can publish. So those are your criteria you're looking for. You're looking for people who preferably have PhDs in biblical scholarship, who are actively publishing research and information about biblical scholarship, and do not work for a place that makes them sign documents restricting what they can and can't publish. If you could find any biblical scholar, no matter what, whether they're Christian or Jewish or atheist or whatever, that fits all three of those are the people that I think that you should be listening to. Those are the people whose opinions I think have actually some weight on this topic.
I mean, but so can I look into if they actually are PhD certified, if they actually are, like, because they could be spouting a whole bunch of baloney based on what their feelings said them. Like, even though, like, you know what I'm saying, I don't mean to flip this, but they could just be like, I feel like this evidence that I got would be weighed, or not weighed differently, but would be more convincing. So I'm going to switch it up. I'm going to change it. I'm going to take.
No,
things
that's why I'm
out,
saying
like,
to make sure that you're paying attention to where they work, because there are a lot of
Okay.
biblical scholars who work for Christian organizations that make them sign documents, a declaration of faith that say that they cannot publish anything that it goes against the stated faith positions of the company they work for or the institution they work for. That's
then
the kind of stuff you should
if they
avoid.
don't sign a document, they themselves could do so. They themselves could
That's
restrict
fine. That's
themselves.
why
Like,
you have to look at multiple people. Look at the criticisms. Look at how biblical scholars criticize each other. I'm not saying read one person and you'll have all the answers. I'm not saying go trust everything that you read. but I am saying that you're going to have a much higher likelihood of getting valuable, valid, legitimate information by looking for people who fit the criteria that I mentioned, as opposed to reading books from idiots like Lee Strobel, or watching YouTube videos or whatever, or reading shit off of Christian websites that are obviously, invested in you believing their claims. Like, you're going to biased sources who have a vested interest in agreeing with your position, and then acting like it's surprising that they agree with your position. That's like if I found an organization that's all about atheism, and then one of the people who works for it says, yep, I'm an atheist, and I think there's really good reason not to believe in God. Well, that shouldn't be convincing to anybody. So in the same way, having a biblical scholar who works for a Christian organization that made them sign documents saying that they'll never publish anything that goes against what the organization believes in, you shouldn't believe those people. They're biased.
Yeah, I got you, bro. Well, I think we had a good conversation.
I think so, too.
Like always, bro.
Yeah, I appreciate you. I always enjoy talking to you. And hopefully you follow that advice, look into some actual scholarship, and maybe we'll have a rigorous conversation next time.
Yeah, I got you, bro. All right, thank you, man.
Take care.
Take care now.
Fair enough. Flexo's always good. Hey, Billy. Okay. Yeah, big W for Flexo. He's been here several times, and he's genuinely trying. Like, he's genuinely looking into this stuff, and that's what I think is important. We'll call that historical evidence. Okay, so if you are in the guest queue or thinking about joining, make sure that you're 18 plus, and that you have some kind of argument or evidence that would provide rational justification to believe in God. Both sides, I hate to break it to you, but the first time he came up, I asked if it was Flexo from Futurama, and he had no idea what I was talking about. So unfortunately, that was not where he got that name. All right. I hate people begging in the chat. Hi, West. How old are you?
Good. I'm 18.
Okay, what God do you believe in?
I believe in Jesus Christ, my Lord, that saved me.
Okay, and what would you say is the best argument or evidence that would provide rational justification to believe in a God?
I believe that everything has a cause. Like me and you, our causes are from our mother. So I believe the universe has to have a cause.
Okay.
And they can't just appear out of there.
Yeah, why should we think the universe has a cause?
It's because it's like me or you don't believe that you just appeared out of thin air.
Yeah, you already said this. This has nothing to do with the universe. Why should we think the universe has a cause?
Because the universe has to have a cause. Nothing appears.
Well, that's the
out
claim.
of thin air.
That's the claim. What's the evidence?
The evidence is that the universe is so vast and the sun is so big that it has to come from somewhere.
So something
Sorry,
that's
sorry.
vast. So anything that's vast.
I might be messing up. I admit I'm wording things wrong.
Are you saying that anything that's vast must have a creator?
No. I'm saying that anything that exists has to have something to make it exist.
Well, you don't want to say that, because then you'd have to say your God has to have something that made it exist. And if your God has something that made it exist, then it's not actually God. So I don't think that you want to say that.
But my God is internal, so therefore he's outside of time.
No,
matter.
you just said everything that exists must have been created by something. Something had to bring it into existence. That means that if God exists, something had to bring him into existence. You don't want to say that. That's a huge blunder.
All right. My bad on my part.
Okay.
But I believe for something to exist, you have something to be outside of space, time, and matter. That is God.
Right. You just did it again. You're saying anything that exists must have been created by something outside space, time, and matter. Well, God exists, so he must have been created by something outside space, time, and matter in your view. Again, this is the same blunder that you just made that I was trying to stop you. And it's like those cartoons where you run into a wall and then you turn around and step on a rake and it smacks you in the face. Like, that's what you just did. I'm trying to save you from this terrible argument that you're giving that's going to backfire on you. And you're like, oh, thanks for saving me. And then you walked right into it again anyway.
That is my bad, bro. All right, it's my bad.
Okay. So we're not going to say that everything that exists must have a creator, because you definitely don't want to say that. So what's the reason to think that the universe has a creator?
It's because I believe that things are too perfect, like the Earth, like it has a sun. If we were a little closer to the sun,
what about the Earth is perfect? Well, no, the little bit closer, a little bit further away thing is bullshit. We literally get millions of miles closer to and further away from the sun over the course of every year. Literally, we've gotten millions of miles closer to and further away from the sun since last July. So we move, the distance from the sun changes by millions of miles. It doesn't create any problems for us. Obviously, there is no, super tight area that we have to be in. Like the Goldilocks zone extends all the way out to Mars.
All right, you got me there. All right, there. But how do you believe the universe wasn't created or came into being?
I don't think that the universe was created, and I don't think that the universe came into being.
No, like how do you think the universe was made? Like how
I don't think it was made.
I'm talking about the origins of the universe.
Yeah, I don't think it has an origin.
Don't think the origin. You think it was always here?
Yes, I don't think it has a beginning of its existence. I don't think it came into existence at any point. That would imply a state of existence where the universe didn't exist and a different state of existence where it did. I don't believe in that.
Then how can the universe exist if nothing caused the universe?
Okay, so you're saying that nothing can exist without a cause again, but this just goes back to your God. You're saying the same blunder. This is literally the third time you've made this exact same mistake, and I'm trying really hard to protect you from this hole that you keep demanding to jump into.
All right. Listen, I believe that my God is eternal. He has no creator. He is eternal. There's no beginning or
yeah,
no
if you
end.
can say that about God, then why can't I say that about the universe?
Because the universe that has like elements and atoms have to be created.
That's a claim. Why should we believe that's the case?
It's because when you hold on, I might do some more research next time. It's my bad.
Fair enough. Do you have anything else?
Also about Jesus Christ's resurrection, all of the apostles were willing to die in horrible ways.
How do you demonstrate that?
It's like Peter.
Actually, you know what? I don't think that even matters because number one, I know that you can't demonstrate that, and number two, I know that you wouldn't believe that from another religion. Like allegedly, Ian always gives the example of Shanti Kali, who was a Hindu priest who had visions, personal experiences with the Hindu gods, and then a bunch of Christians put a gun to his head and said, if you don't denounce the Hindu gods and convert to Christianity, we'll kill you. He refused to convert, and so they killed him. So do you think that because he was willing to give up his life for Hinduism, that means that Hinduism is true?
No, it's gonna mess
right.
up, bro.
Absolutely. So just somebody being willing to die for something doesn't mean that the thing is true, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So the apostles being willing to die for Christianity doesn't mean Christianity is true, does it?
No, not really.
Yeah, exactly. So that's not evidence either. Do you have anything else?
See, you got me there. I'll give you that. You got me. But I'm gonna do some more research. I'm gonna be on here tomorrow.
Well, I'm not gonna be here tomorrow, and I don't like talking to the same people over and over again. So maybe come back in a couple weeks, couple months after you've had some time to actually do some research, put together a good argument, test it out with some other people, and then come back and you'll crush me with it.
All right, good debate, bro.
All right,
Have a good day.
Take care, West. I mean, he was trying. Threw everything against the wall, nothing stuck. That's my note for that conversation. Yeah, he was nice. And he actually engaged. He actually responded to the things I said instead of pretending I said other stuff. So I will say that he definitely was a much better interlocutor than a huge majority of the people that I talked to. Yeah, I totally agree, Travis. And thanks, CJ. Yeah, it's not my goal to like clown on people or to make them look bad. I'll point out when people are making themselves look bad, but genuinely, if he wants to have a good conversation, I just, hey, I haven't seen that happen before. That was fucking awesome. Adam Joy indeed. That was cool as shit. Yeah, Flexo's awesome. Every time he comes up, heading west was great. Hopefully we'll have more good conversations like that. So if you're in the guest queue or thinking about joining, make sure that you're 18 plus and that you have some kind of argument or evidence that will provide rational justification to believe in a God. Hi, Divine Rahul. Are you at least 18?
Yeah.
Okay, what God do you believe in?
The Christian God.
Okay, and what would you say is the best argument or evidence that would provide rational justification to believe in God?
Probably magic
Do you have anything
or some
serious?
sort. Yeah, prophecy, magic. Those things are serious.
Okay, do you just want to say nouns, or do you actually want to like provide an argument or some evidence? Because
Well,
I can
yeah.
say nouns too. Tomatoes.
Don't you think that? Okay, I'm saying the existence of magic.
Yeah,
Would
I'm saying the
provide
existence of tomatoes means there's no God.
Okay, if magic existed, would that mean that God existed?
Of course not.
Okay, so magic fits under a naturalist worldview.
I didn't say anything about naturalism. You said if magic existed, would that demonstrate God exists? And the answer to
Would that
that
be
is obviously no.
would that be demonstrative of a supernatural realm?
It depends.
Do
Maybe.
you think that magic can fit within a natural realm?
I mean, I think that things that seem like magic certainly can.
That's not what I'm asking.
Okay. I mean, if there's magic, then maybe it demonstrates something supernatural, but it certainly doesn't demonstrate God.
Okay, well, magic exists.
I mean, that's certainly a claim.
I know magic exists for a fact.
Yeah, I know. That's a claim that you're making. That's cute. Congratulations. Baby's first claim. Good job.
Okay,
Do you want to have a substantive conversation, or should I move on?
No, I do. If magic
Oh,
doesn't
fantastic.
exist-
So then if you provide the argument or evidence that actually gets us to God, then we can have a substantive conversation. If the next thing that you say is anything other than arguments or evidence for God, then I'll just move on.
Okay, P1, the hair on top of your head disappeared and went on your face.
Mhm.
P2, magic exists. P3, God exists. Conclusion, I'm correct and you're wrong.
Holy fuck.
Write
You
it
wanna
down
know-
here.
You want to know what the tough thing about that is, though? I've had the beard. I've literally had a beard for 19 years now without shaving. I haven't been clean shaven in 19 years, so I've had this beard for that long. And guess what? I only shaved my head bald like a couple months ago. So your claim that my hair from my head went to my face is completely wrong. I already had hair on my face and on my head. Go on my TikTok. Go onto my profile. Look at the oldest videos that I posted. It's me still with my long shaggy hair and the beard. Oh my god. So I guess we just disproved God by the power of my luscious locks. All right, well, have a good one, man. I knew those luscious locks would do something for me. Hey, luscious locks indeed. Thanks, Casey. That's fucking awesome. Perfect timing too. That's fucking awesome. Thanks so much for the support, Casey, Lobes, Poopman Jones, Broken Tree Branch, Nick. I got a little notification. Bertram supporting a bunch. Thank you so much for that, Bertram. 3 pips. Bradley Cooper, killing it, supporting a ton again. Thank you. Forever Snakes. Hey, I love the fucking cowboy hat. I always got to do the finger guns now. I realize that's my cowboy hat move. What the fuck is this? Bob is something. Bob is uncanonical, or canonical. I don't know. We got to do something about that, Bob. Drew, thank you very much. Bradley Cooper, Poopman Jones, KC, Lem, thank you guys so much for the support. I don't know, I don't know. I don't mean to be a broken record, but it seriously blows me away so much. How much support that I get from you guys. I honestly I always figure oh, that was a fluke that I've gotten support up to now and people are, not going to care on my next stream or whatever. And then people do, and it just blows me the fuck away. God damn it. The stupid fucking bots are back. Do I just sit here for the next hour blocking them all? Oh, so fucking annoying. Okay. All right. So if you're in the guest queue or thinking about joining, make sure that you're 18 plus and that you have some kind of argument or evidence that would provide rational justification to believe in a God. Okay, where we go. And I will bring up Gwen. Hi, Gwen. How old are you?
Hi, I am 30.
Okay. Do you believe in a God?
Yes.
Right. And which God do you believe in?
I believe in, I would say the closest I can get to is maybe the Hindu God.
Okay. Do you believe that there's an ultimate personal foundation to reality?
Yes.
Okay, and what would be the best argument or evidence that would provide rational justification for that belief?
Rational justification. That implies that it would have to be outside the bounds of personal experience.
Yeah, definitely.
Like,
yep.
It would have to be something that, like an objective claim, objective proof.
Yeah, some kind of objective evidence, some kind of argument. Yeah.
Well, I can't give objective evidence, but I could give an argument.
Well, a successful argument would be evidence. So what's your argument?
Well, I think that aspects of God can be experienced and reached through subjective means, but and my argument for my justification for why that would be a reason to believe in a God is because that would imply that you could transcend suffering. So I guess my argument is that you want to leave the possibility for yourself and others that
we're not talking about leaving possibilities open. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about whether there's justification to believe that a God actually exists. So your argument should not be about leaving possibilities open. Your argument should be about reasons to believe that God exists.
Right. Well, how many people do you think you've talked to on your streams asking this question?
So that has nothing to do with any reason to believe in God. What's a reason to believe in God?
Well, if there was no reason to believe in God,
then everyone who believes in him is irrational, and it is my position that everyone who believes in God is irrational. That's not surprising to me. I already hold that position. You're not doing anything. I'll give you one more opportunity. Do you have any argument or evidence that would provide a reason to believe in God?
Yeah, I have plenty of arguments for why you would want to believe in a God.
Not why you would want to believe in a God. Why there's justification to believe in a God. Why it's how you can obtain doxastic justification for theistic belief.
I'm sorry, you're using terms that are going over my head.
Fair enough. Doxastic justification means that you have a good reason to believe in something, and that good reason is the reason you believe in it. So what's a good reason to believe that it's true that God exists?
To transcend suffering?
That doesn't give any... If you're saying belief in God helps you transcend suffering, that doesn't give a reason to think God actually exists. That's just saying that belief in God offers placebo effects or placebo benefits. I already believe in the placebo effect. I don't need, to pretend that God exists. So, like I said, I told you it was going to be your last opportunity. You clearly don't have anything, so I'm just going to go ahead and move on. I think it would be rude, maybe even ableist to continue the conversation. So, oh, both sides is on a mission to block all the bots. That's fucking hilarious. Keep it up, my guy. You're doing the good work. All right. If you're in the guest queue or thinking about joining, make sure that you're 18 plus and that you have some kind of argument or evidence that would provide rational justification to believe in a God. And make sure that it's not personal experience. Thanks to the new followers. That's fucking awesome. Hi, Pop. How old are you?
I'm 5.
Okay. Yeah. Well, just looking to speak to adults specifically. Just adults. Hi, Ramen. How old are you? Bueller? Okay, well, I don't want to deal with that. That's for sure. Hi, is it Kike?
Yes.
Okay. Reminds me of a buddy I had back I used to work with, a guy named Kiko, and it was spelled Q-U-I-C-O. I miss that guy. I should hit him up. He's cool as fuck. Anyway, how old are you?
I'm 47.
Okay, and what God do you believe in?
I want to understand. I believe in God. I don't have a religion or a specific deity that I've been.
Yeah.
I would like to understand which God isn't real.
Well, none of them are real. But you're saying that you just believe in like a some kind of foundation, like a mind that created and sustains the universe, that kind of thing.
Yes, something
Okay,
like that.
fair enough. What would you say is the best argument or evidence that would give us reason to believe in that?
Intelligent design.
What would be the evidence
we
for
live-
intelligent design?
If we live in a universe where a slight change in the conditions will destroy everything, like the planet we live in requires a lot of precision to harvest or proceed or produce life, an intelligent life.
Well, the problem that I have with that, Kike, is that seems to actually be the opposite of what we would expect if there was a God. Because if there was a God, it seems way more likely that we would have like completely random physical constants that don't support life, and then God would just make us exist anyway. Like God doesn't need life-sustaining physical constants in order for life to exist. The only reason that you need life-sustaining physical constants for life to continue is if there isn't a God. So it seems like if there is, fine-tuning in the universe, then that would be evidence against God, not evidence for God.
I understand that point. My thinking behind it is that we are not humans. We are experiencing this reality.
Okay, how do you demonstrate that we're not humans?
Because nothing I do, it's only happening like the physical body that I can move and manipulate. It's only doing what I'm commanding. Like
how do you demonstrate that we're not humans?
An avatar. In the sense that we're human beings.
Yeah, we are human beings. That's my position. You said that we're not humans.
We are not the body. We're being.
That's a claim. I'm asking you to demonstrate that that's true, not just restate it again.
All right. So I don't know if it's gonna make sense, but my perception of this reality is that we are just interpreting everything through our brains.
Yeah, I don't really need to hear any more about what you believe, Kike. I need the reasons to believe it. The reasons to think that your beliefs are accurate.
I don't have any. I'm sorry.
Okay. Well, I appreciate the honesty, and I hope that you have a good one.
Yes.
Okay. So if you are in the guest queue or thinking about joining, make sure that you are 18 plus and that you have some kind of argument or evidence that would provide rational justification to believe in a God. Thank you so much for the support, Trista, and Meta Morgan, and Lem, and Bertram. You guys rule. Thank you so much. And for the 95,000 likes that are definitely 100% real, and the 970 people who are definitely all actually here, real people that are here. Why do I keep getting targeted with bots? Does anybody have any idea why that happens? Like, I don't understand what that's about. I don't know. It's weird to me. But anyway, yeah, we'll move on to the next conversation. I don't know if this is someone I've talked to before. It's hard to remember everybody. Hi, Phoenix. How old are you?
Oh, I'm sorry. That's me, huh?
Yeah, Burning Phoenix.
Oh, yeah. No, sorry. This is my wife's account. I was just wanting to talk to you and let you know I really appreciate what you're doing. I have the same ideals.
Well, I appreciate that.
I believe in everything and nothing at the same time, if that makes sense.
That doesn't make any sense, but I appreciate your support.
The possibilities of there being a creator, but I don't think that it's a real thing to put your whole life on.
Fair enough. Well, hey, I appreciate your support, and I hope that you have a good one.
Thank you.
Fair enough. All right. Well, maybe Standout will have a good argument for us here. Thanks for the new follows, everybody. We're going to hit... we already hit 3,500. God damn. That's cool as shit. Man. I guess I was too focused. I didn't even notice it. I don't know, man. Like, I appreciate the community and the support that I've gotten so fucking much, you guys. I genuinely, like, I remember grinding out joining theist lives to debate them so that a couple, like, maybe I could get one person to follow me from the audience. And oh, Bradley, you're the fucking best. I remember grinding out going to those lives to debate on other people's lives so that I could get a one or two people to follow me and then build up 50 so I could start doing my own lives. And, like, I don't know, I started actually doing lives back in February. That's when it was. About the end of February, I started going live, and here we are a little over 4 months later, and, like, I don't know, man, being up at over 3,500 followers now. Just, I don't know, it means a lot to me to get the support. I appreciate it so much. Yeah, I'm Eunice the fuck up too, man. CJ, like, what I would recommend if you want to do debates is pick a topic that you know backward and forward that you could debate in your sleep, even if it's going to get boring having the same debate over and over and over again. But that'll give you the opportunity to debate something you're super confident in without feeling like you're putting yourself out there too much. So that would be the thing that I would recommend if you want to start doing debates. Just pick a really, really narrow topic, right? And tell the bots to follow. Yeah. Well, thank you, Morgan. That's definitely my goal. Make some Eunice merch. Oh my God, I should. You know what? Can I find the... All right. Hold on. I'm taking a detour now because somebody mentioned Eunice merch. And I was talking to someone else in the community, and they made a design that I could totally put on some merch. Let me see if I can... oh, is this not gonna fucking... Okay, here it is. Save image. Save. Let me do... Okay, I know that this is really boring, but this is... hopefully the payoff is worth it. But I had thought about merch before, and I don't know if I'll actually do it, but it does seem like it'd be kind of cool. And this design, I think, is cool as shit. But well, Forever Snakes, if you're serious, I would be happy to have a conversation. I mean, I don't know. Oh, what the fuck? What the shit? Oh, God damn it. Really? Is that really what's going to happen right now? Unbelievable. It won't even let me fucking... son of a bitch. Well, I tried. Anyway. Yeah, I don't know. I do think that would be something that would be cool to do, but I don't know if it's something I'll do anytime soon. But anyway, I was just trying to say thank you to everybody for the support. I genuinely mean it. But yeah, we'll go ahead and move on to the next person. Oh, I was going to mention, as Bradley Cooper pointed out, I do have a YouTube at Ogard Debates, and I have a Discord that you can join by going to tinyurl.com/Ogard Debates. And if you are a super fan here on TikTok, you'll get access to all my notes, arguments, all that kind of stuff. Okay, so if you are in the guest queue or thinking about joining, make sure you're an adult and you have some kind of argument or evidence that would give reason to believe in God and doesn't rely on personal experience. Hi, Isaiah. How old are you?
I am 27.
Okay. Do you believe in a God?
I think so, yeah.
Okay. Which God do you believe in?
Well, I think that's probably like the main portion that I'm at. Like, I don't have an, I think my question, my question or my theism is like exactly like theism. I believe that there is a God. I'm not really as into like one of the the arguments of like, oh, this is the right one or that's the right one.
Sure, but you believe that there's like a mind that created and sustains everything else in existence?
Right, like intelligent design, yeah, for sure. Like there's something bigger than the universe.
So what would be the best argument or evidence that would support that belief, that would give us a reason to think that God does actually exist? And if you're off the app, I can't hear you.
My apologies. I apologize. That was my bad. I did slide it to the side. That's my fault. Can you hear me now?
I can. Yep.
Okay. I think, and only because this is like an area of interest to myself, I think the most interesting like argument for one that I have ever heard was like, and I guess maybe the most I'm gonna say call like valid or whatever, is like, I think it was called the ontological argument, is that like if there is a possibility of a god, he has to exist because it's a possibility and he is a being that would exist, if that makes sense.
Yeah, so you're trying to give like the modal ontological argument?
Yeah.
So typically the way the modal ontological argument goes is that necessarily it's possible that God exists, the way it goes is necessarily if God exists, then God necessarily exists. Premise 2, God possibly exists. So then the conclusion would be God exists. The problem for this argument is that even though it is actually a valid argument, and it does seem like we have some reason to think that it's not impossible for God to exist, which would mean that it would be possible God exists. So the argument would seem to follow, but the issue is that you can run the exact same argument and just say the second premise, God possibly doesn't exist, which obviously is also true. Like it is possible that no gods exist. Well, then the conclusion God doesn't exist follows. So if we're using the modal logical system called S5, where your argument works, the other argument works as well. So then we can say that because these arguments that are both sound, they both seem to be sound, they both, but the problem is if they both work in the same logical system and they give us contradictory conclusions, then that tells us either one of two things is true. Either there's a true contradiction, which I don't think is the case, or that logical system, S5, isn't the right logical system to evaluate this kind of argument. So then if we try to look for a different logical system and we start stripping away some of the axioms that are required to build S5, and we find some of the quote-unquote weaker logic systems that have less commitments, less axioms, you find that the reverse argument, the one that concludes God doesn't exist, that one still works in those other logical systems, but yours, the one that concludes God exists, doesn't work in those systems. So what that tells us is that there's actually... if we think about modal ontological arguments for or against God, the one against God is stronger than the one for God.
Okay, and I can see that. Is there a point where the like, maybe I'm imagining this wrong in my brain, right? Like, but if the arguments are side by side and we're like going bullet point by, and I almost think of like whenever like companies do that like comparatively. Whenever they're like, oh well, if you buy this plan, then you get all of these, and if you buy this plan, then you get even more of these. Like where it's like a kind of like a table set out. So like in the two arguments, where does the argument that God doesn't exist or that he doesn't necessarily exist, where does that start to like, I guess, take the lead in terms of going against the argument that he does? Like, does it make sense? I'm trying not to mince my word up. I apologize.
No, you're good. If I understand what you're asking, which seems to be like, what's the point at which the argument against God becomes stronger? Is that what you mean?
Yeah, correct.
Yeah, so they have equal weight under the S5 logical system, or system S5. But as soon as you go to any of the other modal logical systems, so the simplest modal logical system is called system K. And then if you build on top of that, there's the T axiom, which is not controversial, though both of the K axiom and the T axiom are both not controversial. So you could start with maybe call like the most simple logical system or modal logical system that isn't controversial would be the KT system. Well, in that one, or I should say the strongest modal logic system that isn't controversial would be the KT system. Well, in that system, only the argument against God works. The argument that God exists doesn't follow. It's not valid in that system. Okay, well then if we add another axiom, we call the B axiom, and then we have KTB, or I'm so sorry, if you put all together, all four, the KT axioms, the B axiom, and the 4 axiom, KTB4 is what's called S5. But if you don't have the B axiom, so if you take the KT axiom we talked about, and then add the B axiom, I think is what it is, or excuse me, you add the 4 axioms. So you take the KT axioms and the 4 axiom, and then you've got what's called S4. So that's a stronger, so we started with KT, only the argument against God works. We add another axiom, we get to S4. only the argument against God works, the argument for God doesn't work. And then when we add another axiom, we get to S5, and that's when the argument for God starts working. But the problem is the argument against God still works there as well.
I see. So it's like, and I'm gonna think like sports brain. It's like 2-0 until we change some of the rules, and now now it's 3-1, right? You still 1-1, and then we go up again, and so now we're at 4-1 even.
No,
like
it goes. It's like I'm trying to think of a sports analogy. It's like
for sure. Well,
it's like
I'm even thinking like win-loss column.
Yeah, I'm just thinking of it like, okay, so like first quarter, we'll call that the system K modal logic.
Right.
The simplest one. That's 1-0 for the argument against God.
Right.
Then we go to the second quarter, and now we're at KT, and now it's 2-0 for the argument. The argument against God is winning 2-0. Then we get to the S4 in the third quarter, and now it's 3-0. And then and then when we get to the fourth quarter, now finally the argument for God scores, but the problem is the argument against God also scores. Right. And so then the last quarter is a wash. Nobody won that quarter. But if we look at the totality of the game, it's obvious that the argument against God is the one that wins.
It's still 3-0. Okay. All right. Cool. All right. So then the only other one that I had heard, and again, because this is more like hobby enjoyment, I'm by no means as well studied as you are, very obviously. I feel like I have stepped way out of my depth here. I'm kind of enjoying this a lot. So then the other one was, I think it was Stephen Hawking's The Grand Design. So Stephen Hawking in The Grand Design, he talked about like the initial state of the universe, and that it had to be set up very improbably. And so it was like his argument, and to sum up, was pretty much like if it looks like a duck, quacks like a duck kind of thing, then it's probably a duck.
The problem is Hawking never believed in a god, so I don't understand how you think that Hawking gave an argument for something that he didn't even believe in. Like, he didn't, whatever argument you're referring to, he didn't think was reason to believe in God. So I don't know how you are thinking that you can take an argument that he gave, that he was aware was not an argument for God, and then turn it into an argument for God. That doesn't make any sense to me.
I think he was. I think he was rather agnostic about it towards the end.
Even if he didn't have a positive belief that there is no God, I just don't see any reason why we should think that there is a God. Like, this isn't an argument for God. At best, he could be saying that, he thinks it's unlikely for us to have the physical constants that we do. But if you talk to any physicist that, studies the early conditions of the universe, my understanding, and hey, I could be wrong, I'm not a physicist, but my understanding is that we actually have no idea whether the physical constants could have been different. And if they could have been different, we don't know by how much, right? It could be that there's some underlying structure of reality that necessitates gravity being exactly the way that it is. The strong nuclear force, weak nuclear force, electromagnetism. There could be the cosmological constant. There could be some structure to reality that just necessitates it all being the way that it is, and it couldn't ever have been different. Well, if that's the case, then it's not unlikely that they are the way they are. It had to be that way. And we don't know. I'm not saying we know that that's how it is. I'm specifically saying we don't know if that's how it is. And because we don't know, we can't draw conclusions about the likelihood of any physical constant. I also think that the fine-tuning argument is, at best, it's just not a good argument. At worst, it's actually evidence against God.
Okay. So then, with the idea that, and I think this is where I was trying to go with it not being up in front of me. I was trying to so I think the idea was that whenever something exhibits a specified complexity, that it has, that usually there's a design in one way, shape, or form. So I guess the idea that with the complexity of the universe, it would point towards there being a design for it. And I think if I'm understanding what you were just expressing there was that perhaps it does have a design, but it doesn't have to have a designer to have a design.
No, I don't. I don't think that we could call it a design in any meaningful sense under what I'm saying. But also, hold on. What was the thing that you said right before that? I had something I wanted to say.
that like if it exhibits a specified complexity.
Oh, complexity. Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
So I think that again is another thing that is would be an argument against God. If you think that something being complex necessitates that it had an intelligent creator, an intelligent designer, well, obviously anything that has enough intelligence and power to create and to design and create an entire universe must be pretty complex, and therefore,
thus it would have to also have a All right, that's pretty good. All right, okay, for sure, I'm with it. Like I said, this is why I love this shit. This is great. This is great. This is great. All right, well, those are the only two that I had, and I was scrolling through TikTok. I was like, hey, I used to really enjoy this stuff. So absolutely, I appreciate it, brother.
Hey, I appreciate you being willing to have a genuine, honest conversation. That doesn't happen very often. People typically come up here to preach or to, run some argument that they don't even want to hear the counter argument, and then they twist themselves into pretzels or crash out when I don't accept their argument.
Yeah, no, and because my favorite thing, like, again, and this is one of those things where I like talk about regularly. I grew up a Christian, and I still claim a Christianity as my religion. But for the most part, I always tell people all the time, I'm like, you are skipping over the part of religion that is what religion is, which is belief in the unknown. So like, there's no, like, that's the whole point of it. Like, if you're gonna sit here and go, there is or there isn't, it's like, cool, we can have that argument all the time. I'm with it. But at the end of the day, you have to decide, hey, this is what I'm going to choose to believe, or this is what I'm going to choose not to believe, that kind of thing.
Yeah, I don't think you want to say any of that. I don't think that you want to say that people can choose their beliefs.
Wait, you don't think that people choose their beliefs?
No, it's not possible for someone to choose their belief. No.
You like by belief? Do you mean like religion, or you mean like actual like I believe that stealing is wrong, and you don't believe that stealing is wrong?
Right. I don't think that it's possible for someone to choose what they do or don't believe. I think that it's possible to act like you believe something because you want to believe it. And I think it's possible that if you spend enough time acting like you believe something, behaving like you believe something, researching things and analyzing it as though you believe something, eventually you could become convinced. But it wouldn't be because you chose to believe it. It would be because you spent enough time deluding yourself that eventually you became convinced. But that would just be a manifestation of delusion. That's not.
But do you believe that just specifically in line with religion? Like, and the only reason that I bring this up, right, is like the idea that, like, that. So I guess does that apply to like morals too? That you think that like that there is no innate sense of morality as well? I guess I would go against.
No, I think that people have moral intuitions. I don't think that we should
Right.
trust our moral intuitions to point us to moral facts, but I do think that people have moral intuitions. But what I'm saying is, like, I just don't think people can choose their beliefs. Can you choose to believe that your name is Dustin right now?
No.
You're right. I don't think you could. I couldn't choose
Right.
to believe that my name is Dustin either. I don't
Right.
think I want the name Dustin. I don't know why I came up with that one.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Dustin's in the chat gonna be mad as
I
shit,
know.
bro.
I'm so sorry. I'm throwing shades on all the Dustins out there. Dustin Hoffman is going to see this and be pissed.
Right. I'll say you ruined your one chance, bro.
I know. He was thinking about sending me some money, but now he's going to be mad.
Right.
No, I'm just saying, like, you can't choose to believe that your name is Dustin. You can't choose to believe that you don't have a right leg if you actually do have a right leg. You can't choose to believe whatever, that your mom isn't your mom. Like, you can't choose to believe that stuff. Now, you could pretend to believe those things. Like, you could pretend to believe that your name is Dustin, and then maybe you tell everybody that you now believe your name is Dustin, and they all start calling you Dustin, and maybe after enough time, you would genuinely identify with that name, and possibly even there could be enough time that passes that you forget your name used to not be Dustin. But that doesn't mean that you chose to believe your name was Dustin. That just means that, like, a series of events happened that eventually you became convinced your name was Dustin. But again, I don't think that you can choose to believe anything. I don't think you can choose your religious beliefs. I don't think you can choose your moral beliefs. I don't think you can choose any belief. You're either convinced of something or you're not.
Okay. So then, like, okay, that the last part that just made everything. So like you don't get to choose whether you believe it, but like there are beliefs, you just don't get to choose what they are or aren't.
Yeah, either you're convinced or you're not. And I think that the only way to be, like, I think that the pretending that you can choose your beliefs is a coping mechanism that religions use or religious people use so that makes it feels like they have some control over the fact that really they're just being irrational.
Right. So then, like, the
join a church and get brainwashed, as Sci-Tech Nature said. That's essentially what I'm saying. Yeah.
Okay, for sure. So I think did you say moral intuitions? Is that what you said earlier? Was moral intuitions?
I did mention moral intuitions. Yeah.
So, and only because I've never heard the phrase, like I've never heard that before. So, like, the moral intuition, are those something that you're like born with? Like, that's like an innate to you as a human being?
I think that we have some innate moral intuitions, and then I also think that a lot of our moral intuition comes from like social conditioning and programming.
Right, it's conditioning for sure, absolutely. So then, like, so where do you feel like the moral intuitions come, like the ones that are true, not social conditioning, but the ones that are like actual moral intuitions? Like, that's just from being human?
Yeah, and I don't think that we should ever trust our moral intuitions. I don't think that moral intuitions are like, I don't think intuition is a reason to believe something. I'm very anti-intuition as justification. Now, I will caveat that and say that, like, it is possible to develop reliable intuition on something, right? Like, it is possible for someone to, like, for example, if it's your first time in an airplane and you get to go in the cockpit, you're not going to have a fucking clue what's going on in there, right?
Right.
I know I wouldn't.
Right.
Or, you know what? I'm going to give a better example because this is something that I can actually speak to. Let's imagine, do you play music at all?
I wish, bro. I have absolutely I can't read music, have no musical talent.
Sure. So let's imagine that I sat you down behind my drum set and handed you my sticks. You would be like, what the fuck do I even do? And then imagine I started, like, I pressed play on a guitar track and I said, play along to this track. You're going to just be like, what the fuck? What are you talking about? Right?
Right.
But if you did that, let's say that you took the drum set home and you set it up in your garage and you listened to that guitar track or a bunch of different guitar tracks all the time, and you play along to it every day, or like, you got a whole list of all these guitar tracks and you play along to them every day. Over time, like, I've been playing drums for almost 25 years now. So now when one of my bandmates brings a new idea to practice and wants to write a song, like on a new riff idea, I'm immediately, intuitively, I know what kind of drum parts I want and what kind of drum parts would sound good, what kind of drum parts would sound bad with that, what kinds of transitions there should be. I immediately, as soon as I hear the first riff, I already have ideas in my head of what the next thing should be and how it should progress. And then when I hear the multiple riffs together, I just intuitively know what the structure should look like so it flows correctly. Like, all that stuff to me now at 40 years old just happens. It's all intuition. But the only reason that I have that intuition and that I'm able to rely on that intuition is because I've been writing songs. I've been writing music since I was 13. So what is that? 27 years now I've been writing songs, and I've been playing drums for almost 25 years and writing music on drums that entire time. You know, it's like a brain surgeon. If you put a random person in a surgery theater with a exposed brain, they would have no idea what to do. You put an experienced brain surgeon in there with thousands and thousands of hours of practice and actual real world experience. They're probably not even going to have to think about it that hard because they're so familiar with it. So I've just been yapping forever. I'm sorry. But this is the kind of thing where I would say that intuition is valuable, is when it's your area of expertise and you have demonstrable expertise in that area. Anywhere else. And I don't think any of us have that for morals. Right? Like, there's no objective thing that we can look at. Even though I do believe in objective morals, I don't think that there's an objective thing that you can look at that's going to give you a scorecard of how many of your moral decisions were right and how many of them were wrong. You just have to kind of fucking do your best.
Right. And so I guess then, like, my question afterwards would beg, like, the idea, if there are, you said that you believe that there are moral objectives, and correct me if I'm wrong, because, like, what it sounded like, but based off of just what you just described to me, is that it doesn't sound like there is a lot of moral intuition, like innate moral intuition. Like, we could gain moral intuition based off of the moral objectives that you were just talking about. But it sounds like, for the most part, like the idea of moral intuition with no experience seems like that wouldn't be like, you don't just, obviously you can't be quote unquote raised in a vacuum, but if you had a human, again, with the ability to feed himself and so on and so forth inside of a vacuum, he would have would he have innate morals, or would it just be entirely whatever it is to survive, entirely biological, or would there be any moral component?
No,
due to the
I
Go
think,
ahead, I'm sorry.
I think that person would have intuitions about morals. I just don't think that they
Really?
would be reliable.
Okay. And so they wouldn't lean towards, like you had said, kind of moral objectives in whatever way, shape, or form.
Right. Well, I don't think that we should say that our intuitions are what confirm what is and isn't a moral fact.
Okay.
I think that all people innately have moral intuitions, and then, you know, because we aren't raised in a vacuum, because we're raised in cultures with, you know, families and you know, social structures around us, we get conditioned and socialized to have different, more, you know, a certain moral intuitions that we wouldn't have had otherwise. But there's a lot of this kind of thing. Like, for example, if you go back to ancient Greece, where philosophy was born, and you read like early, you know, Socrates, early Plato, whatever, Aristotle, even, you read these early philosophers, and you're going to find times where they sat down, you know, they wrote out how great slavery is and how slavery is obviously correct. Like,
Right.
Now we know that they were wrong, but they didn't know they were wrong because they were trusting their moral intuition that was developed by living in a society that told them that slavery was okay. Now, luckily, we've advanced beyond that, but there's a lot of stuff that we still have to advance beyond. There are a lot of things that we still need to learn. But essentially what I'm saying is, like, I do think that people have intuitions about what's right and what's wrong, what are the right ways to behave, the wrong ways to behave. I just don't think that they're reliable until you have some kind of like standard to judge it against. And I don't think that, my personal opinion is that most people who believe in objective morals believe in nonsense.
Okay. All right. I'm with it. I think I can get behind that for sure. I wish I had a more educated stance to take on, so the conversation was more engaging. I feel like kind of the toddler listening to the teacher here, but no, I really appreciate it, and I think the most I appreciate the fact is, like, again, it's kind of like you said, when people come in here and start preaching, it wasn't the opposite. Like, I didn't come in and you decided to smash the shit out of whatever argument that I made and make me feel stupid. So I appreciate you, brother, really.
Yeah, thank you for a genuine, honest conversation. And if you come up with an argument that you really think is solid, I'd be happy to have you come back and convert me.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna give it a follow, and I'm sure I'll be back. I appreciate you, my man.
All right, take care of yourself.
You too.
Awesome. Well, that was a fun conversation. How's it going, Lobes?
It's good. I just came to remind you that your hair migrated to your face.
Oh my God.
I was there for that. That
Yeah.
was my little break.
Yeah, W's in the chat for Isaiah. So are we doing the thing later then? And then also streaming?
Yeah, I would love to do it with you, and we can stream too.
Sick. Sick.
I'm down for it.
Awesome.
Dude, like, your stream is kicking ass. Are these bots or is this legit? I had some.
It's totally
I had
bots.
A bot raid too. I had a bot raid too last night, and I was like, shit. Like when it dropped down to like the 100 range, I was like, okay, is this real? I don't even know, because like that's kind of normal.
Yeah.
But then it kept going down. Like, oh shit, I'm still suffering the consequences of that restriction. Unfortunately.
Yeah. Oh, that's unfortunate. Yeah, no, there've been, like, that's why I have almost 150,000 likes too, because of fucking bots. Whatever. Thank you, SciTech Nature, for the support, by the way. Ginger Ninja, Trista. I don't think I mentioned those. So yeah, thank you guys. Well, that's cool as fuck, Anglican bro. Thank you. I appreciate you. I'm just trying to genuinely have honest conversations. So I appreciate that, you know, you enjoy the content, even if you don't agree with me. Okay. But yeah, as I was mentioning with Lobes, we'll be live later, on his channel. Actually, you know what we should do? We should try to figure out if we can do that co-host thing so that I can be on my computer and then we can like both be up there. I don't know. We'll figure it out. But yeah, I'll be on.
I need to get some like software. I think I need to get Video Ninja and set all that shit up so that we can do that right. I'm trying to ask around people who like either do that or know people who do that so that I can make sure that I do that right for the secular perspective whenever I launch that.
Yeah. Well, I just think it'd be cool when I come up on your stream too, if we could like, whatever, it doesn't matter. Anyway,
professional as fuck, yeah.
Well, yeah, and then I get to feel like I'm more like involved and not just like sitting in the sidecar like we always talk about. And maybe that's not what you want to do, and that's fine too. But anyway, yeah, if you're in the guest queue or thinking about joining, make sure that you're 18 plus and that you have some kind of argument or evidence for God that doesn't rely on personal experience. We've had Devin in the chat for quite a while. Hi, Devin. How old are you?
36.
Okay, I'm going to assume that you are a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Get ready for a polite person.
I know.
Be polite as fuck.
Like, going to be frustratingly polite. What would you say is the best argument or evidence that would provide justification to believe in God?
Well, for me, it's not something that you would accept, and it'd be a personal experience I had.
Well, yep, you're right about that. Personal experience is meaningless unless you can give me some kind of epistemic tool that we could use to determine who's properly interpreting their personal experiences and who's not.
That's fair. Could I ask you a personal question? What would it take for you to believe in God?
I think probably the only thing that I can think of right now that would get me there is a sound deductive argument.
Okay, so you're saying the only thing that will get you to believe in God is a sound deductive argument. Can you explain that?
Well, that's the only thing that I can think of, like, off the top of my head right now that I know definitely would do it. I'm sure that there are other things, but I don't really think about what it takes. I just engage with the evidence that I am aware of and it is presented to me and analyze it honestly. In terms of what I mean by a sound deductive argument, I just mean an argument with an argument with true premises with that I can verify are true, that follow a valid inference rule and that necessitates the conclusion.
So an interesting thing when you say verifiably true. So you mentioned actually a few minutes ago axioms, and I know a little bit about axioms. From what I understand is that they are assumed to be true. You don't need to prove them, right?
Well, yeah. So it depends on, I don't know, the word gets used in different ways. So a lot of times, yeah, when we're talking about axioms and like logical or mathematical systems, then yeah, then what happens is you decide what your axioms are, and then you work out what results from those axioms, and so those would be your that's what you would use to then compare the system against the world, right? So if you come up with like anybody could make a new mathematical system anytime they want to, but to see whether or not it's a useful mathematical system, you would make up whatever axioms you want, and then you would see what follows from those axioms and compare it against whatever you're trying to use that mathematical system to describe and see if it lines up. If it consistently lines up and you can tell that every single thing that follows from the axioms you've chosen line up with the things that you're trying to describe with that mathematical system, then that would be the way that you would say that you have reason to continue using that system. Same with logic. If you have a logical system, you would make up axioms, but then what you would do is see what follows from those axioms, and are the things that follow from those axioms reliable. So you would have to test out your axioms, or not the axioms themselves, but what follows from the axioms against things that you are already confident about, and then that test is what would tell you whether or not you have any reason to think that the system produced by the axioms is reliable, and then you have to go from there, right? And it's kind of a constant process of testing and checking to see whether or not the things that follow from your axioms produce reliable results.
So if I understand you correctly, something you said earlier was the kind of like this axiomatic framework. If it proves to be useful in the real world, then that would be convincing evidence?
No.
Okay, you used the word useful. Could you help me understand what you meant by that?
Yeah, when I was talking about if you were to invent a new mathematical system, I'm just saying that the system would be useful if it does the thing that you're trying to do with it. Like, I assume if you're inventing a new mathematical system, you're using it to describe some feature of reality in a novel mathematical way. And so what you would have to do is test if the axioms produce a system that describe those things in an accurate way.
Sure, but a lot of these things are not verifiable. So, for example, we can have an axiomatic.
Okay, well, so look, here's the thing. Here's the thing, Devin. I'm not really here to get into a big like metalogical debate or meta-mathematical debate. I'm trying to see if there's any argument or evidence for God. You asked me what would convince me. I gave you an example of something that would convince me, which is a sound deductive argument that concludes God exists. So now let's move on. What would you say is the best argument or evidence that would provide justification to believe in a God?
So one thing I think is convincing is I notice cultures across the world in ways that it seems almost impossible for these cultures to have stolen them from each other before there was continental travel, is they have similar stories that we find in the Old Testament.
There's been continental or intercontinental travel since the beginning of humanity. So trying to say that, oh, these things developed before intercontinental travel is saying that they developed before humanity existed, and I don't think that's the case. So you would have to use something else.
How do we know intercontinental travel existed as early as you're claiming?
Yep, we can track. Well, I know that as a member of the Mormon Church or whatever you want to call it, I don't know if some Mormons think that that's a derogatory term, and I don't mean it that way. I have no idea what else to say, and I don't want to say the fucking Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints every goddamn time. LDS, whatever. To be a member of the LDS Church, I know that you have to ignore actually how historical evidence works and what history actually is. But if you were someone who actually cared about history or how we determine what is or isn't historically or archaeologically true, then you would be able to tell that we have lots and lots of evidence for the history of the human species, our origins in Africa and the travels that, happened after that, when different populations split off, where they went. We have tons and tons of evidence for how that happened and when. And so we know that, like I said, humanity came into existence from a population of, I believe it was Homo erectus that was immediately before us, that evolved. Prior to Homo sapiens evolving, Neanderthals broke off and traveled outside of Africa. And then eventually when Homo sapiens came on the scene, we broke off, a population of Homo sapiens stayed in Africa, and other populations left Africa at different times and traveled around the world. Most of the humans who left Africa back then interbred with Neanderthals. That's why basically everybody except black people, certain black people, have Neanderthal DNA. We know how the history works. We have genetic evidence. We have archaeological evidence. This is something that a lot of people know about. And so again, because we all came from the same place, from the same original population of humans, our Homo sapiens, and because we've been traveling across the continents for basically as long as we've existed as a species, I see no reason to think that I see no reason to think that we wouldn't expect cultural similarities across the world. In fact, it seems like it would be crazy. The thing that would be unexpected is if we didn't find those cultural similarities.
Would you believe in God if God were to come down out of heaven?
No, because I would have no idea if it was actually God, or if I was having a hallucination, if there was a time traveler with technology I wasn't aware of that was messing with me, if there was some advanced alien species. That's why I didn't say that kind of physical evidence, because there would be no way for me to verify that it wasn't just some technology that I didn't know about or some other thing happening. Like, it could be that there are supernatural beings, but they're not gods, and those could be fucking with me. So I would have no idea whether it was a god, which is why I said the best example that I can give of something that would convince me would be a sound deductive argument.
Sure.
And more on that, if God were to come down from the sky, assuming God is all powerful and a perfect communicator, God would know exactly what would convince Ogar and could just give Ogar whatever that is. So it would be kind of like simplicator, X that convinces him, but God would be able to provide that for him. So we can't really put our finger on the pulse of what that is exactly.
Well, keep in mind, I believe in the God of the Book of Mormon, not the mainstream Christian God. So your premises of what you're saying, what we might expect from God, that's not the God that I believe in. So I would say if you're not going to believe if God comes down, actually, I'm really happy you said that, because we believe in the prophecy of false Christ, false figures performing signs and wonders.
Okay, so I just need you to give me the argument for God, Devin. So far, all I've gotten is questions and alluding to maybe I have an argument, but you haven't actually given one yet. And I am losing my patience here, as we've been talking for about 10 minutes, and I haven't heard anything yet. So I'm gonna hold your feet to the fire. I need an actual argument or some kind of evidence for God, or I'm gonna move on.
Right, I hear you. I know that you want to play offense. I'm just not sure how used you are for playing defense.
I don't really give a fuck whether it's offense or defense. I just want to actually discuss the substance and not all this tangential bullshit.
I don't think that your framework holds up under internal critique.
Okay, I don't care what you think. I care what you can demonstrate. Do you have any argument or evidence for God? This is the last time I'm asking. If the next thing that you say is anything other than some argument or evidence for God, everyone will know that that means that you know you don't have any arguments or evidence and you're an irrational person. So it's your call how you want to go from here.
So you can't defend your beliefs either?
All right, fair enough. Of course I can defend my positions. The prompt, as you can see, is God isn't real, prove me wrong. Also, if you had come in polite from the beginning and just saying, hey, what I'd really like to do is have a conversation about your position, whatever, like, yeah, we could talk about that. But instead, what you wanted to do is play games, and we're not going to do that. Good times.
It is kind of interesting when the idea is that you're supposed to provide an argument. I think that's been stated multiple times, even like before, multiple times even more before the previous guest was up. That's the whole point, is you're supposed to provide an argument. If you don't, or if you won't, after being repeatedly asked, it really does just demonstrate that you don't actually have one.
Right.
Especially when you're told that you're going to be kicked for not giving an argument, and you still don't give the argument. Yeah, I mean, you can say what you will about host's worldview or position or whatever, but yours clearly is not justified if you don't have an argument to justify it.
Yeah, and he never even asked me for an argument for any position that I hold. He asked me about some positions that I hold, and I explained to some degree, but he never even asked me for an argument. So, like, I don't know what this, like, grandstanding of, like, well, then you can't support your position. Like, where the fuck does that come from? I never said I was giving an argument, so my failure to give an argument isn't, whatever. Doesn't matter. Anyway, before I forget, I do want to remind everybody that I do have a YouTube over youtube.com/@OgarDebates, and I have a Discord that you can access by going to tinyurl.com/OgarDebates. I am trying to, the goal is to, like, build community there, find a place where we can grow and learn and together, and also, have fun, whatever. Yeah. And, okay, we'll see if we can have some good conversations. We have had some decent conversations. What I do want to say, let me see here. I'm just going to let you know when. Okay, now I feel like I'm going crazy. I'm not going crazy. Right? Okay. Okay. Well, I see you in the guest queue there, Bryson, but we just talked 2 days ago. So I'll ask you to wait, maybe a couple weeks and then come back when you've had enough time to come up with a different argument, a different approach, something that you can support differently than the conversation we just had.
That was the guy from when I was up with Monkey Boy, right?
Yes, the one that asked me to kick one of you and then bring another theist up so that we could do a 2-on-2. And yeah, that was not, I don't know. I've been thinking about this. And as much as, obviously, I love you, Lobes, and obviously I love Monkey Boy too, but I've been thinking more and more about, like, whether I should just, like, not ever bring anybody up and only ever just do the one-on-ones, because, like, I don't know. As much as obviously I like coming on your stream, I like having you here when you're able to, but at the same time, like, I don't know. It's just something I've been thinking about.
I've definitely gone that route for a while. I wasn't bringing up any friendlies. After a while, I did get kind of lonely. Like, I missed bringing up Cyber, and I missed bringing up Everlasting Godstomper and all these guys. But it is kind of, do what you want to do. You do still, even when you have one of us up, you're still doing most of the talking anyway. So,
well, I have way too big of an ego to let you actually talk.
Yeah, hell no, don't let us talk. But the only thing that I think could help is just the fact that there's people up on the panel. It could be a little bit more intimidating for people wanting to request. So I think it could affect that. But while the conversation is going, I don't think it really does that much.
Yeah, I just also feel like, I don't know, there's something that I like about taking just the one-on-one approach. You know what I mean? It's like,
yeah.
It's like
I don't schedule any friends to come up with me on certain nights just because I'm like, I want to do this by myself tonight. Yeah, I definitely get it.
Yeah, I feel like it's kind of like, well, I do magic, right? And it's like, you know, they sell like trick decks, right? Like you can buy a trick deck of cards that like does the magic trick for you, basically.
Right.
And I don't like those. Like, I think that they have their use. They're fine. There's nothing wrong with people using them. They exist for a reason. That's whatever. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with people who do that. However, it's a lot more satisfying to me, and I enjoy the process more if I can create magic without that. If like my band played a show a couple weeks ago, and we were playing in like there's a venue where there's like a bar downstairs where the venue and it is like the stage and everything, and then there's a bar upstairs where you can get food and stuff. And before the show, we were hanging out upstairs getting food and whatnot, and there happened to be a deck of cards. Somebody pulled it out, and I was like, oh, I'll do a magic trick. And that's so much more satisfying to me to just grab a deck that's found in the wild. I had no idea it was even there.
Yeah,
and
who's got a deck of cards? Yeah, it's like, like they know it's not a trick deck because it's their cards.
yeah, literally, like they grabbed it like they were going to start playing a game, and then we're about to put it away, and then somebody mentioned like Ogar could do a magic trick. And I was like, fuck it, I'll try something. And like that's so much more satisfying to me. And I kind of compare that as opposed to like having a deck that does the trick for you. And I kind of compare that to this, where it's like it's a lot more satisfying to me to have the conversations when I know that it's like I'm really putting myself out there and it's only me. I don't have backup. Like there was a time a while back, like maybe like the second or third time Monkey Boy ever came up, where he saved my ass. Because I was just like, my brain wasn't working. It was the beginning of the stream. Somebody hit me with a question, and I don't know why, but my brain just completely blanked. Luckily, Monkey Boy requested at that exact moment, came up and saved me, and like my brain started working again, and then it was fine from there. But it's like, I don't want to rely on a crutch. You know what I'm saying? Not that I think you're a crutch or whatever.
I feel like my brain goes to the flat line pretty often. I don't know if you've noticed, but I definitely feel like the pause. I'm like, bro, what the fuck did you just say? Let me process this for a second. I wish I was sharper.
I don't know. I think I told you this, but like, there have been a bunch of times where I'm on your stream, listening to somebody, and it's like, I know if this was my stream, I would say this, and then you say that. So it's like, I don't know. I'm definitely, you're not doing worse than me, that's for sure. But anyway, stop. I'm done glazing you and talking about my own bullshit. We'll get back to the fucking point.
I did get called a donut.
Nice.
Yeah.
You know you're winning when they start insulting you.
My lobes are donuts.
All right. If you're in the guest queue or thinking about joining, make sure that you're 18 plus and that you have some kind of argument or evidence that will provide rational justification to believe in a God. Oh, Gracie, it looks like you're already a follower of Eunice. How old are you?
I'm 18.
When were you born?
2006.
Yeah, that took way too long. I don't trust it. I don't trust it at all. I don't know.
Let me just pull out my calculator real quick.
I know. I did. Okay, I got a very, 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 very legitimate piece of criticism, constructive criticism recently, that I have kicked females because they sound young. And I'm not trying to do that. I'm certainly not trying to like avoid talking to, women who want to have this conversation. But if they sound young and I don't actually have a way to verify it, I don't know. And I feel so fucking creepy talking to kids or thinking that I might be talking to a kid. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know.
It's like better safe than sorry.
It just makes me feel so weird, dude. Like, it just feels gross, man. I don't know. Whatever.
It's like I was at work and there was like some milk and he was like, "Is this still good? It's been out." And we're feeling it. I'm like, "I'm not sure. Since we're not sure, let's just throw it out. We can't sell this to somebody if we aren't sure." And I'm remembering now that I forgot to discard it. It's still sitting somewhere.
That's so funny.
It's not out for sale, but I did forget. I'm like, shit. I told them how to deal with that. Oops.
That's so funny. Okay, all right. So we'll see if we can have a good convo with the next person. If you're in the guest queue, make sure that you are an adult and that you have some kind of argument or evidence that would provide justification to believe in a God. Well, Chloe, I don't know you, so I don't know that I can trust you. Hi, Patrick. How old are you?
Hi. I'm 18.
Yeah, you're clearly not. See, I don't only kick girls or women or whatever. Yeah, trust a random person on TikTok. All right. That was clearly a kid, though, right? Like,
hello.
Hi,
yeah, 15?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like 14, 15. Anyway, hi, Pito. How old are you?
clearly not a kid. 37.
Okay, yeah, you look like the fucking what's his name, Boba Fett. If that's your profile, if that's you in the profile pic, anyway. What God do you believe in?
I'm sorry.
What God do you believe in?
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Okay, and then what would you say is the best argument or evidence that would provide rational justification to believe in a God?
To believe in God, or that He exists, or what are you asking?
I don't know the difference between those, so either one.
All right, so does He exist? Yes, He does. Ask anybody who is rehabilitated.
Yeah, what's the argument or
drugs.
evidence that God exists?
So what type of evidence are you looking for? Some sort of document, or are you looking how He has transformed people's lives as proof of concept?
No, transforming people's lives cannot possibly be evidence for a supernatural being. So I'm just looking for something that would actually raise the probability that a God exists.
So that's interesting, because how can you judge what is and what isn't proper evidence?
Because we determine whether or not it would raise the probability of God existing, and what we would be looking
But who
for.
determines that? You? But why would you be that determinator?
I'm not saying that I'm the ultimate, arbiter of what is and isn't
But
evidence.
you really are, because your argument is that is not sufficient evidence to prove that God exists.
Yes, because it isn't evidence, and I was about to explain it if you would let me.
Okay, I'll listen.
Okay, so obviously we know that people's lives can change based on false beliefs. That's a thing that absolutely happens. People believe false things all the time. There are lots of people.
How does that make any sense? So, for example, if I want a job,
you said you're going to let me give me the explanation that you're asking for, and then while I'm giving it, you interrupt me, so I can't give the explanation. So what I'm saying is, I know, for example, I know a story of someone who was trying to get over alcoholism, and they found a Muslim community that helped them get over their alcoholism, and so they converted to Islam because of how it changed their life. Now, did the Islamic community that they found help them change their life? Yeah, absolutely it did. Does that mean that that God actually exists and that Muhammad was a prophet? No, of course it doesn't. It means that the community helped them. And the same way where if a Christian community helps someone, that doesn't mean that Christianity is true. If a Hindu community helps someone, that doesn't mean Hinduism is true. So what I'm looking for is something that would actually provide evidence, a reason to believe in God, and a community changing someone's life. A community changing someone's life doesn't provide reason to believe in the things that community believes in.
So why is there such a huge community in the Catholic?
Okay,
Muslim,
that's a
and
question
Christian?
that has nothing to do with the topic. Do you have any argument or evidence that would provide
Well,
a
you
reason
said
to believe in
reason to
God?
believe, right?
Yes.
You
So
said-
you should be
okay,
providing a
so-
reason,
okay,
not
so-
asking a question.
So why? Okay, obviously the question.
Do not
leads
ask
to
the
a
question.
statement.
Do not ask the question. Just make the statement then.
You seem really nervous because you know exactly.
I know.
where
I'm
going with
so
this
nervous.
conversation.
Obviously.
So
Yeah. I'm so
you
nervous
are
that I'm trying to
determinator.
force you to
are
stay
the
on topic.
determinator of what is right and what is wrong.
Yeah.
In terms of what's
Okay.
what
So
can be
do
determined
you have
facts
anything, or
and
do you
what's
just want to
not.
talk meta now?
Well, no. First of all, you're. What does it say? It says God isn't real. Okay. So
Yeah,
why
prove
do
me
you need
wrong.
to be proven? Why do you need to be proven wrong if you believe He doesn't exist? I
Okay,
believe
so
He
I'm going to
exists,
give you
so I
one
don't
more
need to argue with
opportunity,
you.
Pito. I'll give you one more chance. If the next thing you say is anything other than an argument or evidence for God, which you knew before you came up here was expected of you, then everyone will know that that means that you also know that you don't have any reason to believe in God. But if the next thing and I will kick you. If the next thing you say is some argument or evidence, then we'll actually gain a little bit of respect back for you that we've lost in this conversation.
Provide examples.
So
of
what's
what
the
you're
argument or
looking for.
evidence?
Provide examples of what you're looking for.
Fantastic. Thank you for the concession, Pito.
I was pretty much like a hard atheist before Pito came up, but now I think he's converted me to like super duper atheism. What's interesting is apparently Mezzo was struggling with alcoholism until he became an atheist, and now he's completely sober.
Well, we know what that means.
That means that
not a
he
goddamn
is,
thing.
Yeah, I forget what I was gonna say.
I'm so sorry. I'm an asshole.
No, absolutely, by all means.
Yeah. So what you're saying though is that you were a hard atheist and now you're harder.
Now it kind of hurts, and like people think it's funny to walk around hard all the time, but if you're hard for too long, it does start to hurt. You gotta stop. You gotta soften yourself.
Yeah, if you find yourself being a hard atheist for over 4 hours, seek medical attention.
Yeah. It's when you're too blue-pilled.
Oh my God! All right, if you're in the guest queue or thinking about joining, make sure that you're an adult and not some child listening to this raunchy, inappropriate conversation, and make sure that you also have a non-personal experience-related argument or evidence for God. Hi, Amy. How old are you?
I'm 25.
Do you believe in a God?
Yes, I do.
Okay. Which God do you believe in?
Jesus Christ.
All right. And what would you say is the best argument or evidence that would provide rational justification to believe in a God?
Well, I've seen online that Noah's Ark is considered to be real.
Okay. Well, I've seen online that it's not.
I've heard of both of these.
Why is that?
Well, I saw it online.
Sure.
Okay. Well, so you saw online that it was real. I saw online that it wasn't real. Where do we go from here?
Yeah. I'm a little confused.
Yeah, I'm confused too. I don't know why anybody would wait in the queue and then come up here to give such a stupid argument.
Well, the argument would have to be that God exists because I can speak and so can you.
Okay. Why would we expect that we wouldn't be able to speak if God didn't exist?
Well, because your flesh, same as my flesh, has a soul.
Okay. I mean,
What?
why should we think that there are souls?
Well, because like in science, it talks about whenever someone passes away.
The 22 grams or whatever, that's obviously been debunked. That's nonsense. Why should we believe in a soul?
No, it's not. Debunked from what sense?
That
I
is-
want to know, what this even has to do, because we're talking about speech. What does the soul have to do with granting speech? Science has never said that. Well, if it wasn't for this part of the body, the soul, we wouldn't be able to speak. We explain it how we can speak purely scientifically without invoking a soul. So, what role does the soul even play?
Yeah, sure. If you could scientifically tell me the purpose of my own speech, go ahead, please.
The purpose? I'm talking.
No,
you're talking
no,
about
hold
how
on.
we can't.
No.
Hold on.
He said
Stop.
scientific-
Amy, stop. The issue is you're saying that our ability to speak is evidence for God. So
Yes.
if you aren't asking us for a scientific explanation, that's a burden shift. What you're supposed to be doing is providing the evidence that supports your position. So what is the evidence that our ability to speak points to God's existence?
You ever heard of the saying, Yahweh?
He's a Saiyan.
Excuse me, sorry, a little bit since I'm talking to you. You ever heard this, Yahweh?
No, the saying I'm more familiar with is Goku.
Yeah,
Sure.
but he's not the king of
No.
all Saiyans.
Yeah.
Sure, yeah.
No, I'm saying. You're saying.
Yeah,
Oh
sure,
wow,
sure.
that fake laugh really did a lot. You know what? I think I actually converted to God now because of that fake laugh.
Thank God, right?
One, two, That's, I mean, that actually would be a better argument for God than anything we've gotten from you so far, Amy. So far, your best argument has been ha 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 ha. Do you have anything better than that?
Yeah, so whenever you breathe in and out, you say,
Yeah, and that's not Yahweh. I've never said Yahweh
Are
from
you sure?
breathing. So
you
what's
sure?
the argument or evidence for God?
I thought he was quoting Darth Vader, actually.
Luke, I am.
who's Darth
You know,
Vader?
he never actually says.
Father.
You know, he never actually says, "Luke, I am your father." He says, "No, I am your father."
Right.
Search
But you know
your
what's
feelings.
interesting about that? Ogar.
Oh my God,
He says, I'm your
guys.
father, and father is what Yahweh's supposed to be, apparently. So I think it is kind of coming full circle. He's going to run the Star Wars argument. With the
I
breathing.
didn't. You started saying.
I
not
came in a
me.
circle one time. There's the fake laugh again. I'm about to convert.
No, it's
so
my real-
Amy,
that's my real.
so Amy, do you have
that's my
anything?
real laugh.
You got anything of substance, or should we move on?
No, I do.
Okay, so I'm waiting. You got one more opportunity. So far, we've got nothing of substance. If you can provide any argument or evidence that has any weight to it whatsoever, I will continue the conversation. Otherwise, I'm just going to move on.
I appreciate that, but it's online.
brother. It's
Oh my
online.
God, it's online. Okay, well,
This stream is online.
if
brother.
it's on, no, but it's online, Lopes. But it's online though.
Yeah. So is the line.
Hey,
The line.
no, you don't understand though. It's online. Okay, it's online. It's like
But I have 2 lines, so that's more like I have more credibility. See, my PFP is 2, like intersecting lines.
well, here's what I'll tell you. I actually have a really really good argument for God, but you wouldn't know it. It goes to a different school.
that one like warmed up. Like that one, I had to let that one load a little bit.
All right.
Like, what's he talking?
All right. If you're in the guest queue or thinking about joining, make sure that you're 18 plus and that you have some kind of argument or evidence that would provide rational justification to believe in a God. Ooh, hear the voice crack? I got to get those out before the debate. They're going to crush me. Hi, Mei Lee. How old are you?
Hi, I'm 24.
Okay. When were you born?
2002.
You sound real young, but like I was saying before, I've been criticized for being too quick to kick women for sounding young, so I'll give you the benefit of the doubt here and hope that I don't regret it. What God do you believe in?
I believe in my Lord Jesus Christ.
Oh, does she not sound like a child, Lobes?
What?
Well, not at first.
Okay, if I sound like a child, then there's something wrong.
Yeah, it makes me feel like I'm a fucking PDF. You know what I'm saying? Like
I don't
like that.
What was your first?
No.
What was your first cell phone? What was your first cell phone?
It was a little flip phone.
What was the brand?
It was a little Nokia little flip phone.
Okay, people are saying that she's
Wait, I
an
have
adult?
a question though.
What are you saying, Carter? Look at her profile. She's an adult, or is she a child? If somebody looked at her profile, I can't fucking do that right now. No Q8, I know that was...
but my question is, why don't you believe in God?
Oh, okay. Well, I'll take that offline then. It just really felt like a child. I'm so sorry. She just seemed like a child. I'm sorry, people. I'm sorry. I don't mean to be biased. I'm not a misogynist. Hey, that's a cool as fuck cat.
There's a little child on your head.
Oh, hey.
I'm just kidding.
Okay, all right. Well, I genuinely take it seriously if I get constructive criticism, and especially because I got that criticism from someone that I trust and like I value their opinion, right? But like, so I'm trying to take it seriously and take the feedback constructively as it was intended to be. Anyway, I'll answer the fucking question. Why I don't believe in God. Number one, the easiest answer, there's no evidence for God. So, and obviously, like, it's irrational to believe in things. It's irrational to believe in things that you don't have a reason to believe, right? I mean, that's the very definition of irrational. And then beyond that, that's a reason not to believe. And then the reason to believe there is no God would just be all the arguments that show that God's properties are contradictory. It's really hard. Like, it depends on the type of God, and there's different arguments for different kinds of gods or different God conceptions. But I'm not aware of a God concept that is actually coherent.
Have you heard that the universe is conscious and that makes the universe God? Have you heard that one yet?
Yeah, well, yeah, that's like kind of a version of pantheism, I guess. And then there's panentheism, which is kind of the same, except God is also something beyond just the universe. But okay, if you're in the guest queue or thinking about joining, make sure that you're an adult and you have some kind of argument or evidence that would provide justification to believe in God. Hi, Manny. How old are you? Hello.
Hello.
Yeah. Hi. How old are you?
I'm 45.
Okay. And what God do you believe in?
Please have mercy on me, because my language is not your language.
Okay. What God do you believe in?
I believe in the Father and the Son
Are you a Christian?
Yes.
Okay. And what would you
Okay.
say is the best argument or evidence that would provide rational justification to believe in God?
You have to speak slowly for me because I'm not
What's the
in
best
your language.
What's the best reason to believe in a God?
Because this God can show your inner I cannot explain it, your inner deepest desires, the deepest desires you have inside of you. He show it to you, and he will help you to fight against it.
I believe you that like people have the experience of, you know, the kind of you know, angel on the shoulder, devil on the shoulder kind of thing where you have conflicting ideas, and I can understand someone, you know, thinking that it's a you know, some external being that's helping them make those types of decisions or overcome whatever. But I mean, people have attributed that kind of thing to all sorts of different beliefs. I don't see any reason to think that it actually demonstrates a God.
Do you believe in the Archangel Michael?
No.
So you're missing something.
That's your opinion. Is there any support for that position?
Do you believe in angels?
Of course not.
Do you believe in a heart attack?
I believe people have heart attacks, yes.
It's not why they don't believe in angels. No, it's only because God.
There might be a little bit too much of a language barrier.
Yeah, I don't think we're getting anywhere, Manny. You seem like a nice person, but I don't think we're going to be able to make any progress here. Like if you're that surprised that an atheist doesn't believe in angels, I don't know how far we're going to be able to go, unfortunately. All right. If you are in the guest queue or thinking about joining the guest queue, make sure that you are 18 plus and that you have some kind of argument or evidence that would provide rational justification to believe in a God. Hi, Savannah. How old are you?
We are
Okay. I mean, at least the lady that does it to Dean has a good voice. That was horrible.
Right when she came up, I heard a ding. It was kind of crazy.
Yeah.
It was exactly timed. Was it timed that way for you too? What was that ding?
I don't know. There was a little bit of a delay for me. All right. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, if you could actually sing, I mean, maybe we could like listen to you sing, but I don't know. If we're going to have somebody sing, it's probably not going to be Savannah.
I'll sing, but you gotta pay me.
Yeah. Was her Nokioid? That's what the ding was her Nokioid.
I like to do Nokioids.
I had a Nokioid once.
That sounds painful. Could you sit down? Like, I heard that you have to like lie on your belly all the time, and when you have a Nokioid.
All right, so we've got Boz requesting, but I just checked my notes. He's been up here 4 times, and of the 4 times, 4 of them he had nothing. So we'll see if we can go 5 for 5 with absolutely nothing. Hey, Boz, do you actually have something of substance this time?
Well, I mean, you're mean to me, so I sometimes I can't get out what I'm trying to say. So
yeah, I know I'm an asshole. I'm an asshole because I want people to actually be on topic and actually have something of substance. I'm the worst. I know.
Okay, so and you can tell me if I and there again, dude. So you asked me, do I believe in God, or the question is God isn't real, or
no? What's a reason
wrong,
to believe in God?
Okay, I can't give you that answer.
Okay, well then you shouldn't be here. If you can't give me an answer for a reason to believe in God, then you should not be here. Unless,
can we not talk for a second?
No, because the whole point of the live is to have debates about whether there's reason to believe in God. I take the position that there isn't a reason to believe in God. Lobes takes the position that there isn't a reason to believe in God, and I'm an asshole. And then you're supposed to take the position that there is a reason to believe in God. But if you're not going to do that, then there's no way to have a debate.
But where do we come from?
Okay, well, that's a question. If you want to research the origin of humanity, then I recommend researching the origin of humanity. Look, Boz, I'm not trying to be...
You.
Yeah, I'm not an expert on the origins of humanity. I'm not an evolutionary biologist. So that's who you should be looking up. Look up Forrest Valkai if you want to know about the history of humanity. Forrest, Forrest, Valkai. V is in Victor, Alkai. Forrest Valkai. That's who you should be looking up. Or you could look up Erika, Erika, Gutsick Gibbon. So look up those two people, and that's where you can find information. In fact, Erika, Gutsick Gibbon, is doing a series with a creationist teaching him about evolution. Watch those videos. After you've watched all of those videos and you're caught up, then come back and we can talk about it. Because I am not going to be able to educate you, Boz. I am not here to educate people on evolution. I'm the last.
By the way, those are really good recommendations for anybody who isn't aware of these names. They're my first two recommendations for learning about evolution. Another good one is Aaron Ra. He knows a lot about evolution as well. I think he's still actively studying it. So he makes videos about it. He has series on YouTube about it. There's plenty of great creators, and these are like the top three that I always recommend to people. It's very digestible the way they put it.
Yeah, I think Forrest's content is fantastic, and it's so entertaining. And then I think Erika is maybe not as like cartoony as Forrest, but so informative. And I'm not as familiar with Aaron Ra stuff. I haven't really watched him for a long time. But anyway, we'll try to see if we can have a good conversation. I'm going to request that if you're in the guest queue, that you make sure you're an adult and you have some kind of argument or evidence for God that doesn't rely on personal testimony or experience. And I'm just going to cross my fingers that this isn't another child. Hi, Chloe. How old are you?
We are Charlie.
Yeah, that was a child. Okay. Fair enough. I should have expected that. And I kind of did, but not enough. Hi.
I wouldn't expect that from a vegetarian, though.
Yeah.
We are Charlie Kirk.
Is this the same person?
Is that all you got? Is that all you've got? Come on.
Now do it in a baritone.
We are Charlie.
Come on, you could do better than that. Come on. Okay, hold on. Just take a couple deep breaths. And then you want to sing from the diaphragm.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what we should be doing.
Were those inhales?
That's the song I want to hear. All right. If you are in the guest queue or thinking about joining, make sure that you're 18 plus and that you have some kind of argument or evidence that would provide justification to believe in God. Thank you so much, Mog, for the heart me. You got me to the gift goal for the stream. Thank you so much. I appreciate that immensely. Thank you, Angry Neeson, J Monk, Susie, Lem, Instatom. Thank you guys so much. Sincerely, thank you guys so much for the support. I am like saving up for a new computer because this laptop that I'm using isn't that great. I had somebody I trust look at it, and the response was like, "Oh, that's older." It's like, yeah. But the goal is to get some new stuff, and all the support genuinely makes an enormous difference. So thank you, everybody. Okay. This is definitely not going to be a troll. I can tell for sure, 100%. Hi, Harley. How old are you?
I'm 30.
Oh, I genuinely expected. I expected a Charlie Kirk song. What God do you believe in?
I don't really, I believe in God, but I don't believe in a particular religion per se. And I don't think I'm going to be able to convince you that there is a God, but I hope I can at least get you to consider the fact that there may be a God. And so, my first question for you is, do you believe in an infinite universe?
There are two different ways that I could take that question, but I think that I would have to say no to both conceptions. I don't have active beliefs in either a temporal or spatial infinity for the universe.
Okay, do you believe in the Big Bang Theory?
Yeah, I think it's most likely an accurate description of the expansion of the universe.
Is it really so crazy that a being would set that into motion?
Yes, that is a crazy thing to believe. Yes.
Why is that?
Because there's no evidence for it, and so you would have to be actively irrational to believe such a thing.
Actually, I think you could just consider the possibility, because you don't know for
We're not talking about considering the possibility. We're talking about believing in it. Those are very different things. Considering the possibility is certainly a reasonable thing to do. All reasonable people should consider possibilities and, look for evidence to see if they're wrong about something or if there is something that they don't currently believe that they should. That's fine. But actually believing in it is irrational because there isn't a reason to believe in it.
Harley, have you ever considered the possibility that the universe expanded out of the back of a UPS truck?
No, I have not.
Whoa!
I mean, maybe you should consider that possibility.
Why are you drawing conclusions when you haven't even considered it?
I don't understand what you're saying.
You're saying that we should at least consider God, and it's not crazy to believe in it, but you haven't even considered that the universe expanded out of the back of a UPS truck, and I guarantee I'd be willing to bet money that you haven't considered the real truth, that the universe was wrong side, over here. The universe was farted out by our Lord and Savior, Eunice the Universe Farting Unicorn.
Hell.
I mean, I guess if you want to consider that a possibility, I can't take that away from you.
It makes just as much sense as the nonsense you're talking about. In
How
fact,
so?
Well, Eunice does a much better job of grounding logic in math because the reason she had such a stinky fart that was so powerful to create a universe, or our universe, was that she ate a spicy hypotenuse. Well, we all know that hypotenuses are mathematical objects, and math is logical. So that's where math and logic come from. That's why we have math and logic in our universe. So see,
right, and she couldn't have eaten this spicy hypotenuse if the mathematical object didn't exist for it to be eaten. So that proves right there.
Boom. Have you considered that we were farted out by a beautiful magical unicorn?
No, I have not.
Okay. Well, so it sounds like there's a lot of possibilities that you haven't considered, and it seems like we could probably just say, what do we actually have reason to believe in those things until, we have reason to change our positions.
I believe, in a self as well. Do you believe in a self?
Like, do I believe that I myself exist?
Yes.
Probably.
Okay. Do you believe that other people exist?
I'm just as, I have the same level of confidence that other people exist as I have that I exist.
Well, what evidence do we have that other people exist?
Yeah, lots of evidence. I have lots of experiences with people, and I have found, some foundational reasons to think that I can trust at least certain aspects of my experience. And yeah, I mean, there's lots of, I don't know. Honestly, Harley, if your only defense here is to retreat to solipsism and then pretend that because no one can solve hard solipsism, that then your position is rational, I honestly, that's kind of pathetic, if I'm being honest. So if that's all you've got, I'll just go ahead and move on. If you have anything of substance, I'd be happy to hear it.
Well, I was just gonna say that I have schizophrenia, and I've seen people that aren't real.
Okay.
And
well, I appreciate you coming up, and I hope that you have a good night. That's enough for me.
I don't have schizophrenia, so I don't see the people that aren't real, and maybe that's why she's a theist. Like it could. Well, I don't want to go there. I don't want to. Actually, I shouldn't go there. I should not go there.
Yeah,
no jokes about that.
Yeah. And if you have, mental health issues, then just, whatever. I don't know what to tell you about your mental health issues. I'm certainly not a mental health professional. So yeah, I don't know. I'm just looking to discuss whether or not there's reasons to believe in God. Doesn't seem that there are. I don't know. Maybe one day somebody will convince me. Maybe later on tonight when we're on Lobes' channel, and yeah, we've actually got a nice host. Then maybe we'll get some good arguments. Maybe the only reason that I didn't get any good arguments tonight is because I'm such an asshole. But it is what it is. I can't do anything about the hole in my ass, unfortunately. It is now 10 p.m. here in the Central Time Zone, so I'm going to go ahead and call it an evening. But as I said before a few times now, I am going to be on Lobes' stream later, so I would love for you if you're not currently following Lobes, make sure that you go follow Lobes now and join us later, so we can have some good conversations and yeah, that kind of stuff. Oh fuck yeah. Oh fuck. I was a room mother tonight, and that is fucking fantastic. Thank you, Mog.
Genghis Khan.
Yes, Lupine has a really good point. I keep forgetting about Gary, the reasonably powered goat. We don't want to. I mean, Eunice is great and all, but we don't want to overlook Gary and his reasonable degree of power.
I didn't realize there was a Pantheon.
Oh, dude, you got to go into my server. Lupine has really fleshed out a bunch of stuff in there. It's fucking awesome. But I am ending the stream. If there are a couple people in the queue, if you want to chat tonight, feel free to watch for Lobes to go live, and we can talk over there. If you want to talk with me another time, I don't think I'll be live again until Sunday. But I am going to get going, and no, I'm not going to bring up another person to sing We Are Charlie Kirk. It's been really bad singing so far, and I don't want to be disappointed again. But I love you all. Thank you so much for being here, for supporting. Remember, as I always say, tomorrow is not guaranteed. You don't know how many opportunities you're going to have to let your family and friends know how much they mean to you. So do not skip those opportunities. You'll be sad if you do.